Broadcasting live from Youngville, North Carolina and Ontario, Canada. This is Gotmead Live, a weekly show where Vicky Rowe and AJ Aramutz bring you the mead news, meadery info, and mead making discussions from all over, talking with mead makers, mead owners, industry mavens, and influencers. This is Gotmead Live, a weekly podcast about mead and the people who love it and where the mead world is going. And now here are your hosts, Gotmead owner Vicky Rowe and mead and wine maker AJ Aramutz.
From the den of the puppies of the apocalypse in northern Michigan, the bunny pen in Ottawa, Canada, and the palatial retirement estate in Minnesota, it's Gotmead Live. Welcome to the show. I want to say thank you to all the folks who have become Gotmead patron members or have renewed themselves being Gotmead patron members. You are appreciated. That is the only funds I have to keep this show on the road. So I appreciate it very much. If you're not already, I hope you'll consider becoming a patron member. It's only $30 a year, about 50 cents a week. You get access to the patron boards and on the Gotmead forum and the patron Facebook group. And there are a lot of really good recipes in there, as well as quite a lot of very experienced people who know lots about making great mead. So definitely check it out. You can go to gotmead.com/community. That's the forum. And you can create a login for free. And if you choose to become a patron, you can upgrade from there. And once again, we appreciate you. Tonight, we've got Matthew Mead, who's pretty much the winningest guy in the comps these days. So this should be interesting. We'll do our best to pry all of his tawdry little secrets out of him as how he does all this. Now, if you want to catch us online, you can find us on YouTube, Twitch, X, and Facebook on the Gotmead page. So chat is part of the podcast. We'll see it if you post up a comment on the various response functions, the chats on the various pages over on Twitch or YouTube or what have you. So we'll see it here. But if you want the new integrated chat, I created a channel on Discord. So you can go to Discord. The channel is, it's discord.gg/4, capital P as in pony, capital E as in Edward, N, capital A, U, M as in Mary, Q. And that should get you in there. That's the invite link. So definitely check that out if you're into Discord and want an integrated chat where you can have pictures. And you can thank Rob Barnhart for that because he kind of gave me grief about it. If you want to find our socials, of course, we are on Facebook at facebook.com/Gotmead. That's our page. And facebook.com/groups/Gotmead. That is our main group. We ask you 3 simple questions. So we can keep the spammers out. So please do answer those. We'll get you right on in there. On X, aka Twitter, we are at Real Gotmead. Please feel free to tweet. And if you want to send us comments, criticisms, people we need to have on the show, etc., go to gotmead.com, put your mouse over, but do not click Gotmead Live Radio Show. Click the drop down. That'll take you to a question form that comes to all 3 of us. So, and I just want to do a shout out for our wonderful sponsors, Honeybrook Craft Mead. You can discover Honeybrook Craft Mead with 2 Colorado locations to serve you. Visit our original Castle Rock tasting room and production facility or our brand new Littleton Mead Cottage and Garden. Choose from our 20 taps of wonderful, light, and refreshing craft mead. Find us using your favorite map app or visit us at honeybrook.com. That's HONNI-brook.com. So, what are we drinking?
Well, I can start.
Okie doke.
I had a long day working outside, so something citrusy and refreshing sounded like a grand idea. And thus enters a Tracy Kufus Lime Mead. This is a nice, light lime note with layers of honey and soft caramel. Moderate warming alcohol carries the honey and acid with a lime zest finish. Well balanced and enjoyable.
Nice.
Well, I have a Perry. I'm pretty sure it's a batch I started in September 2010 and bottled in January 2011. I'm pretty sure it was using second run from the fruit from the chocolate pear group brew that I did on Gotmead from ever so long ago. I know I used white grape concentrate, and I can taste now that I used honey with goldenrod in it. It's still carbonated, has a bit of bitterness at the back of the palate after swallowing, but it definitely still has plenty of pear aroma, plenty of pear taste, and it's pretty pleasant considering it's been in my basement for 15 years. What about you, Vicky?
Sorry, I was typing. Um, Rob's like, I didn't hear you. What I do? So I had to tell him about the Discord. Okay. I pulled out. When I was in Houghton last weekend for my college class reunion. We went to the local beer store that we always used to go to when we were in school because why not? And they had a bunch of Bee Nectar session meads in cans. So I picked up a couple of those, and between me and my friends, we just about killed them. But I've got a couple left, and the one I'm drinking tonight is called Yacht Rock. It's a mango mead with pineapple juice and passion fruit, and it's session mead. Lots of fruity aroma in this, very tropical, but it's got that sort of characteristic aroma of mango. That mango smells weird. I don't know why it is. It tastes amazing, but it smells funky. And then when you taste it, you get tons of tropical notes, and the pineapple's making the biggest appearance here. Mango's coming in close behind. Passion fruit's kind of muted in this one, but very lovely beachy mead and a great follow-up after having to deal with drywall mud today. So you can get some at beanectar.com. That's BNEKTAR.com. So what about you, Matt? You drinking anything fun or just going easy tonight?
No, I took it easy, but I got a lager. I grabbed the Cervetta.
Didn't want to feel left out there.
No, I have to be a little careful on my sugar intake, but I do enjoy a good lager.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Sugar's something you got to watch out for. So welcome. It's good to have you on the show. I don't know why it took me so long to do it, but after watching you ripping through all the comps in the last couple of years, I figured it was about bloody time.
Yeah. Well, I'm here to answer questions about comps, and I can talk a little bit about my mead making process. I've kind of moved away from mead making, but I still do it. I do enjoy it. I just can't drink it as much as I used to. But
yeah.
I like the creativity aspect of it.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not like you have any lack of friends that'll help you drink it.
no, and I live in a great state because we have
Yep.
access to all this amazing fruit this time of year. So
We really
it's really hard to like not make mead when you have
Yeah.
great.
It's been driving me nuts because I don't have the space right now. Still, everything's in boxes. But I hear you.
I got the itch this last week before I went down to Kentucky to judge at the Kentucky State Fair, and I made a plum mead, so I got that going right now. So then I got like 2 different types of plums, and then once it gets done fermenting, I'm gonna put it on Shiro. Was it Shiro plums or no Santa Rosa or something plum? They're a really bright red plum. So
Nice. I've been going to town on cherries lately, just eating them, not making meat out of them. But
I kind of missed cherry season this year. I tried to do it. It was really short for tart cherries around here. I don't know why this year was a tough year for tart cherries. Because usually I make a tart cherry mead like every other year. And the 2 places I go to get cherries from, they were pretty beat up. Like I guess there was a frost or something, and it hit the cherry trees just at the wrong time.
Yeah. Oh, we got. Let's see here. People coming in on the chat time says, Rob says I'm supposed to ask you about the map. The map.
The map.
That's what he's
supposed to have asked in the Dora voice, though.
Oh, in the door. Oh, I don't have the Dora voice, so I can't help you there. Dora the Explorer was not popular in my child.
I don't know about the map. I could talk about like where I've had things entered at. Like so one of my I had a goal was it last year? I think it was last year, and it was basically winning a competition in every state. And so I had worked on that over that year. I went back and looked at where I had won at previously, and then I made a target to basically hit the other states um, that I hadn't hit yet. So some of the states they don't have mead, but I pretty much entered mead in every state that allowed me to. And then some states that didn't allow mead or cider, I just did beer.
Okay.
And I made it through. I made it through last year, all the states but one. I missed South Carolina. They had a very small they had a very small window, and it filled extremely quick. Like, because a lot of the guys that do Master Homebrew program, like I do, they all had entered it, and so it had closed extremely quick. So I didn't get it in last year, but this year I got one in, and I did win. So then that was the last one I needed. So I finished all the states that had allowed competitions. I think there's only 6 of them right now that don't, maybe 7. I think Delaware, Hawaii, Maine, Mississippi, Montana, South Dakota, and West Virginia were the only ones that I hadn't entered.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Hawaii, they used to have a competition before COVID,
Yeah.
and I don't know if they brought it back after COVID. I think there's the homebrewer population in Hawaii shrunk right after COVID, and I have not heard of them bringing that back.
I want to say I vaguely remember or think I remember Tracy saying something about that
Yep.
because she's got a bunch of people back there, but I
You're
think
right.
she
Yeah,
said that they canceled it or didn't hold it or something.
it was
Yeah,
tied to like
but she says.
it was tied to some kind of like party that they did, like a summer party or something.
Yeah, there's some kind of celebration thing.
Yeah, and so I think it just kind of died off, and I don't know if there's anybody there that's trying to bring it back, but if someone were to bring it back, I'd definitely send something out there to enter.
Yeah.
Tracy and me both have a friend that is a beekeeper out there, and so I, in the past, got um, honey from them for and made mead and sent stuff to them, and so I was looking forward to it because they were telling me when I was out there visiting with them that they had this competition. And then after I got back and I started getting into homebrew competitions, COVID hit, and then it kind of just died. So
Yeah. Yeah, that
and
put kind of a kibosh on a lot of
yeah,
things.
and then I know the other one that used to have competitions was Maine. They had a competition up there, and then I think that one I think that one kinda went away as well after COVID. Homebrew is kinda shrinking in some portions of the country, and so it's also affecting competitions in portions of the country. And in other parts of the country, it seems like it's growing. It's very interesting. So,
Very cool. Glad to
yeah.
hear that. And you've been just kicking butt and taking names, man. I mean, you've been making mead since what, 2016, 2017?
Yeah, I started out I guess my background is I started out because a friend of mine who was a mead maker here in Grand Rapids, he was gonna open up his own place. His name was Mike Ryder, and
Mhm.
he had Ryder B something, I forget what it was. But anyhow, he was like, if you have a last name named Mead, you need to be making mead." So I'm
I
like,
always
"All
thought it was
right."
kind of ironic that that's your last
Yeah.
name and,
So that kinda got me on the path, and the first few meads I made were absolutely atrocious. But, my friends are like, they lie to you.
No.
They lie to you, or they just are happy that they're getting to drink something that you made, and so I guess competitions was my first attempt at getting actually blind feedback on my
Mhm.
meats, and I think the first comp I did was Mazer Cup, and the things that I thought were gonna do really good did not do very good, like, they were in the 20s. And it was kinda shocking, but it also, like, helped, teach me that, hey, there's more to just making mead than, um, honey, water, and yeast. There's a lot more involved in the whole process. You need to be you need to understand, your nutrients, and you need to understand temperature control, and you also need to understand on the back end of it how to properly finish and balance a mead. And so entering those competitions and getting that feedback got me on the path of starting to look into that stuff. It got me into modern mead makers, which was my first. I didn't really know about Gotmead until after I entered modern mead makers. I didn't really search out on the internet like forums and stuff. I just was on Facebook at the time, and so I had heard of modern mead makers, and so I had joined there, and then from there I learned of resources, outside of modern mead makers such as Gotmead for information as to how to make mead and get questions answered. So it was definitely an eye-opening experience, and it all came from just putting my mead out there at a competition and getting the feedback on it.
That's, in my opinion, one of the best uses of a comp is, you get other people who aren't your friends, or if they are, they don't know it's yours.
Yeah,
Giving you feedback on your meads. And there are so
yeah,
many people I talk to that are like, "Oh, everybody says it's great." And I'm like, "Does everybody include people that don't know you?"
yeah. Well, and I think too, like when people ask me, um, you know, about that, I usually tell them Mazer is really good feedback, but also it might not be the most cost-effective feedback. I forget how much entries cost, but it's kind of like NHC. Like NHC is like $30 an entry, and you get good feedback, I think, 'cause I know I judge it and I make sure I give good feedback. But my hope would be that if you are just starting out and you're looking to like make better meat, you know, at least put it out there to someone from a blind perspective. Go find a low price comp and you get your entries in there. And when the feedback comes back, if it's positive, great. If it isn't, then don't take it personal. Just, read the feedback, maybe reach out to the judge and ask some questions on how to make improvements and, use that as a stepping stone. That's what I ended up doing.
Yeah. Well, that's good stuff. I can't tell you the number of people I've run across that they get really upset, and it's like, I get that it's your baby, and you admit it. You submitted that and you wanted it to do well and everything, but at the same time, if it doesn't, these are people that they don't have any skin in your game. They're not
Yeah.
after you. They're not trying to get you. They're not trying to insult you. They're just trying to give good feedback on.
Yep. I mean, I'm friends with a couple of Grandmaster BJCP judges, and I'll give them my meat and I'll say, "What do you think?" And they won't hold back. They'll be truthful with me.
Yeah.
It'll be more truthful if they're blind, but I mean, they know that I can take critical feedback because
Hmm.
that's I've done it enough times now where getting that feedback, I can separate the personal side of it to the, I guess, professional, the amateur side of it, like actually making it and trying to make it better. And my mind is that I want to hear from them. They don't think it's balanced right. If they think it could use a touch more acid, if it could use a touch more tannins, it only makes me want to go and make some adjustments and improve it. And 9 times out of 10, when I get feedback and I make those adjustments and then I enter it into another comp, it just scores better.
Always good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of my mead, a lot of people bottle their stuff right off the bat. Most of my stuff stays in carboys. I just pull it and I CO2 top the carboy, and then I just pull it and I make my adjustments on my bottles as I bottle it,
Okay.
and then I bottle it and ship it. And it's kind of nice because I can also play around with blending that way. I've done I've done meads like Polish meads where I have a bunch of mead aging in a 5-gallon barrel, and I just pull off what I need and then blend it with some fruit, and I have a new mead.
Nice.
That would suggest that you're not making a whole lot of carbonated meads. Is that fair?
Yes, I mean I still make carbonated meads. It like certain meads I'll design them around carbonation. Anything that's like hydromel or maybe even like light end of standard strength, I'll add carbonation to it, just because in those aspects when I'm designing the mead, I look at the carbonation as a way to add some acidity as well as give it body and aromatics that when you're dealing with something very light, on the lower end, um, that kind of makes up for that and helps round out the mead.
Okay.
But yeah, in those
That's an
situations,
interesting way
I
to.
have kegging and CO2 systems or CO2 to carbonate stuff.
Sure.
That's on my list of stuff. Once I get back to making meat again, then I'll look into that. Right
Yeah,
now,
they
I
got
just
these.
want to
I
stay.
mean, they have these nice little 2.5 gallon carboys, so
Mhm.
you can basically,
Nice.
or you can basically put some meat in there and carb it up and then pull off of that to enter into competitions.
And also, for
Nice.
those who are interested, you can get Kegland out of Australia, and they sell in the U.S. They make a PET bottle,
hmm
which holds 1 gallon, 2 gallons, or 8 liters, actually. And those are nice volumes for doing small batch carbonation. They work pretty well.
Yeah,
And
I have
cheap.
one of the 2 gallon ones. I bought it from a homebrew shop in Kansas City, and I use it every once in a while. Right now, it's got cider in it, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's great for like if you need to carb up a small batch.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'd like to get to a point where I've got like at least a few taps going, of carbonated stuff with the bar that I'm going to be rehabbing along the same lines of getting my meat making space ready.
Yeah, I need to. That would probably be my next investment. Is I need to clean the garage out a little bit and buy a chest freezer and start having some taps, having things on tap and chilled all the
Yeah,
time.
nice. Yeah, I think that would be great.
I'm with Rob. I have 2 freezers full of berries and peaches and plums and
Mhm.
every time I buy a small chest freezer to use as a fermentation temperature chamber, I end
Full
up
of
Uh-huh.
filling
fruit.
it full of like fruits and hops
Yeah,
and things.
I understand.
Yeah, I've got a chest freezer that is in the process of being emptied, but my husband just pointed out to me that my dad's old upright, which he's had for God, I don't even know, 30 years at least. The thing is on its last leg. So I'm thinking that will become the fermentation chamber.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's an upright, so not quite as straightforward to work with as the chest freezer, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's the same
Probably
same
easier to get stuff in
process.
and out of.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Easier to get. I don't have to be heaving 5 gallon
Even
pails
stuff up
over the
and out.
top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if I pull a bunch of shelves, I ought to be able to get a couple of 5 gallon batches in there if I wanted to.
one of the homebrewers in our towns was selling a bunch of his old homebrewing equipment, and he had a freezer that he jury rigged with a extended door on the front of it. So he sold
Huh.
that to me for like $50, and that's my normal. If I need the temperature control, I use that for like
Oh, cool.
lagering and stuff on the
Mhm.
beer side of things. But I built my own what do you call it, a glycol chiller out of
Mm-hmm.
there's instructions online on how to do uh an air conditioning unit, a cooler with you put the block from the air conditioning unit in the cooler, and then you just run glycol and a couple pumps in the cooler, and then you
Oh,
can run glycol to
Hmm.
if you have like stainless steel fermenters, you can run glycol into those. And I do have that. I just haven't been using it. It's been really hot this summer, and I
yeah.
really haven't. I really haven't wanted to been. I really haven't want to be fermenting things in my garage, even with the glycol system. I've
Yeah, I
just
don't
been
blame
kind
you.
of taking it easy because it's been in the 90s. It's been pretty crazy.
This would be the
Yeah,
time I'd be starting to experiment with the Kvike yeasts, I think.
yeah.
Yes,
Next
exactly.
next summer, if we get hot like that, I'm gonna be playing with Kvike, I think. 'Cause I've already I mean, I had planned on doing it in North Carolina when it's stupid hot all the time, but now we're getting, and I apologize for moving up here and apparently bringing it with me.
Yeah.
That was not my intention, just saying. But yeah, it's been stupid hot this summer up here. I mean, I'm just so happy when it breaks down below 80. It's like,
usually my basement in the summertime is around 65, but this
yeah,
year
mine
it's
too. Yeah.
68. So I do ferment in my basement. I use the cement floors as a cooling.
Yeah.
But I have to use like ale strains at that point, or I got to I got to watch the temperature. I usually put a thermometer in there just to kind of see if I'm hitting 70 or going above. Most of the time, I'll hang around 70, at the most 72. But I like using like in those situations, I like using like USO5 or SO4, like ale strains to ferment with.
Yeah.
They tend to work fine in that spot, and I like SO4. It tends to throw off fruity esters and things, which are kind of nice when you're dealing with mead.
Yeah. What temperatures does it like? I don't think I've worked with SL4 yet.
It's an English ale strain, so I don't know if you've had many like English pub beers, but they tend to have some like fruity esters to them. So it really works good if you're dealing with like meads with fruit, or if you're dealing with like a honey that's kind of like a fruity varietal. You know, I think Billy uses it over at Lost Cause.
Wouldn't
He's
surprise
big
me.
into
a
ale
lot of
strains.
Chico.
Yeah,
USO5.
Chico and USO4, I think. So, I mean, there's a lot of mead makers that don't use wine yeast.
Yeah.
I mean, it works, and so that's a good thing to do when you're dealing with summer and you don't have a lot of temperature control. Like some of those ale strains work really well for that.
Yeah, I've been using K1V 1116 for whenever I can't control the fermentation temperature because it doesn't seem to care too much, and the worst thing it'll do is throw some fruity esters, which usually I prefer anyway.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to type and listen at the same time and finding out I'm not very good at that either.
I'm reading.
So Matt, you make a lot of fruit meads, probably more than anything else, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty much known for my sack.
Okay.
Or your what?
His sack mead.
Oh,
cherry
sack
one
mead.
is.
Oh.
Yeah, like my cherry.
Whoops. You still there? I think we lost your voice there, Matt.
I'm still here or no?
There you are. Yeah, I don't know. You just all of a sudden went wow.
Yeah, you said the last thing we heard was I'm pretty much known for my sack meads.
I am. I mean, my cherry sack meads and my blueberry, anything dark fruit that I get around here. That's kind of what I'm known for. Though in the last few years, I've kind of
about what you're doing there. Are you what's your starting gravity? What kind of fruit load are you putting in?
Oh boy,
honey.
Yeah, I said we're gonna pry all your secrets out of you here, Matt. Yeah.
Well,
but you got to not worry about it because, like Tom says, it's different for everybody.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I'm gonna ask questions.
No,
so.
it's fine. So I usually go pretty high if I'm doing fruit like that. I do the no water method, which is basically I get my fruit, I clean it, and then I put it in a fermenter, and then I pour honey over it, and I use a little fruit enzyme like lysine, and I'll use my Opti Red or Opti White, and then I'll get a big yeast pitch going, a big happy yeast pitch, and then I'll pitch on top of that. And usually,
are you making a starter for your yeast pitch?
Yeah, the yeast pitch is my starter. So usually I'm using like Go Firm. And my go-to yeast on dark meads tends to be something like RC212 for my cherry meads. I'm trying to think what I use for my blueberry. It's been a while. Maybe 71B. QA23 is another one I really like to use. Those are my go-tos on my dark ones. And usually, like I said, I create a big happy yeast starter, get
And
it going, get it about the same temperature as room temperature, and then I pitch right on top of the mush of berries and honey, and I just let it chew through everything. And it basically, I do my nutrients, doing toss now.
Okay.
I'll basically, but sometimes I'll front load, like, because I'm trying to get the yeast to start a big colony right off the bat and get a good foothold in a very heavily um, negative environment for it, because there's just so much sugar there.
mhm,
So then I'll usually do a big yeast pitch and then a big nutrient pitch the next day, and then I'll trickle pitch out the rest of the nutrients over the next 24 to 48 hours.
okay.
And once I know I got a good solid ferment going, then I just let it run. And when it's done, then I rack off all the material and I'll press it out, and I'll use a clarifier to, compact it down, and then I'll rack it off one more time, and then that's the final mead. Other than things like oaking, which I tend to do oaking on those meads, I'll use like medium toast American oak, just because I like, when you're dealing with such a heavy mead and there's maybe some heavy acids there, I like to have that kind of vanilla note that the oak gives, as well as the tannins to help kind of round it out. So that's usually my process when I'm dealing with those big heavy sack meads.
Mhm. Do you
And
have
then
a specific
age is the
starting
key on
gravity
those.
that you typically target?
What I for I aim for?
Yeah.
Usually I'm aiming around 1.180.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, really high, because it finishes
That's
usually around 1070, 1080.
okay. That's right around the you can't ferment this range.
Well, you can ferment it. It's just gonna struggle a bit, but
Yeah.
everybody says you can't, but you can. Yeast
Well,
are
you can, but if you
ornery
go
little
much
buggers.
higher, it's
Yeah,
pretty
but
tough.
you gotta you basically have to, like, when you get above 1180, then you gotta start looking at step feeding things. So you got to do the Polish method, where you basically start low and then you get it going, and then you add some more honey back.
Step
Mhm,
feeding then?
mhm.
Yeah, I've done Polish meads that way.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm told that sometimes that's the only way you can get it there.
yeah, especially some of those really thick Polish meads,
Oh yeah.
is to start lower and then get it going, and then add the honey, add some more honey a certain number of days into it, and then just monitor your gravity levels. When you're dealing with that
Um,
thick stuff, though, it can be kind of tricky, because you don't really have tools at your disposal for that very thick material. Though I do have a hydrometer that goes high like that. They
Okay.
make
sure.
hydrometers for like whiskey.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, for whiskey making. So there's one. I have one that falls into that uh 1180 range, and I'll use that to, like, take a gravity reading if I need to.
So one of the folks in the chat asked, "What is a big happy starter?" And so I'm gonna modify that a little bit and say, "Do you have a specific pitch rate that you're looking at for that, since
So
you're making a starter?"
I use a tool um, that Sergio built on Mead Made Right. There's a calculator there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I use. I use that calculator. Hopefully that stays around forever. Also gonna have to find a new calculator.
Well,
And
I
there's
could
plenty of
say I could talk to Sergio and see if he wants to put it on Gotmead and
yeah.
with
It uses
attribution,
some
and then
kind
it'd be
of
better.
web-based pro calc.
Yeah, he
But
built that in ProCalc, I believe.
yeah, I talked to him a bit about it, and hasn't he hasn't said anything about getting rid of it or closing the site down yet.
No, I don't think he's planning on it, at least not
But
last time I talked to him.
it's really awesome. Like, I really like it. You can pick out your size of your batch. You can say like 5 gallons. You can say your starting gravity is 1.180, and then you can go to you want to do Firmo or Firm K, and you can pick your yeast selection out of there. There's a whole bunch of them that are pre-entered. If you're using something that isn't in that list, you can just he has like at the very bottom he's got like low end requirement, medium end requirement, high end requirement. So you can basically, if you know what it shows for that yeast strain, like in the documentation for it, you can pick one of those, and then it will come back and say how much go firm you need, how much water you need for your go firm, how many grams of yeast. It'll basically tell you how big of a starter you need to make. And it will then break out to things like your 1/3 sugar break, and then it'll basically break down how much yeast nutrients you need per window of your nutrients, your schedule. So it's really nice. I use it a lot. The other one I'd use is when I build out my recipes, like estimations. I don't know if it's still in the file area on Modern meadmakers, but there is a spreadsheet there that was built by a gentleman that I don't think is around anymore. Joe, what's his name? Joe.
Segura.
Yes, that was him. He built this really awesome spreadsheet. Let me find it real quick. It is called. It's called Batch Builder. And I use the Must Mixer tab on it, and basically you can put in how many pounds of honey you're going to use. If you have a honey refractometer, you can, and you know how much your Brix is of your honey, you can put that in there. If you're going to add water, you can put how many gallons of water you're going to put in there. If you're going to use fruit, there's a cool little food database that gives you some estimates on different types of, how much the sugar certain fruits have in it. If you have a refractometer, you can also squish some fruit and then take the juice and put it on your refractometer, find out what your cherries or your blueberries are coming up as for the Brix level, and then you can punch that in, and it will tell you an estimate of how many gallons of mead, how big of a fermenter you're going to need, what your estimated starting gravity should be, and then there's additional fields where you can put in, like, if you know your yeast can go up to 14% or 16% or 18%, you can put those in, and then it'll come back and tell you what it thinks the finishing gravity of that concoction should finish at, like an estimation. So it kind of helps you build out it kind of puts a blueprint or a game plan together as to what your mead should sort of look like when it ends up at the end of the finishing line.
Yeah,
and this one also.
He put a blending calculator in there too, I believe.
Yeah,
that's one that I use all the time.
Yeah, it's really cool tool. I don't know if people really play around with it, but when I was first starting out and he was online, I could ask him all kinds of fun questions, and so this is basically when he decided to step away from everything and the internet, and I think he was building a bus that traveled.
He's building he's making an RV out of an old school bus.
Yeah. He basically stepped away from anything. He basically went in, and he used to have like a timer on it, like an expiration timer. And so he basically said, "Hey, I'm gonna take the timer off of it, and it's free for anybody to use." And then he just put it out there and walked away. So I still use it to this day. I keep a copy in Google Drive, and I'll just make a new spreadsheet. I'll just copy the one, and then that's basically my template for if I'm doing a trad or if I'm doing a fruit mead or whatever I'm trying to build it. I use it as just a way to build it out on paper and get an idea of what I'm trying to go for.
Okay. Yeah, that's I've got a copy of that too, and I think that's a great spreadsheet. You did a wonderful job on it. I've toyed with the idea of trying to figure out a way to convert that to something that could go up on the website and be a live thing that people could use on the fly. But I have to talk to Joe and see if he's okay with it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you can convert something like that to a web form, that would be kind of cool.
I think it's possible. I've been playing with the idea. Maybe AI has apparently been really good at helping with programming stuff. So I was like,
Converting
maybe
things like that. I could
yeah,
see
that's
that.
kind of what I'm wondering is if I might be able to use AI because I got to do the same thing with the Gotmead mead calculator. I've got to update that thing and add in a whole bunch more stuff. I mean, I wanted to bring the yeast into it and all, and I'm going to download the USDA fruit database, with the sugar levels and everything, and get all of that. So. Oh gosh, yeah. Austin's like, good night, all. He has to go to work really early. Yes, it is recorded, Austin. You're fine. He's asking. So, well, that's so. Are you planning to keep on entering? Are you going to be entering more mead comps, or you said you were moving more into beer now?
I still do mead.
No.
I do mead and cider. I just don't do as much as I used to. Like I used to 100% just that's all I do is mead and cider. And then when I got into MHP and I started doing like the trying to make everything high quality and getting high 40s on my meads. Once I got most everything done on that side of the house, then I started getting the itch to try to do things in the other portion of the fermentation space.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and also like the 50 states. When I got done with that, I had to set a new goal. So
Yeah.
so my new goal was, and I completed that one this year. Was they have underneath MHP a thing called Jack of all trades, which is you have to score higher than a 30 in all 41 beer styles. And I recently completed that about a few weeks ago.
Nice.
So,
Congratulations.
I had a lot of it kind of already done, but I was like, I would say there was 10 of them or 12 of them that I didn't have done. So I just sat down and I built out a list of beers I wanted to make, and I started banging them out like 2 or 3 a week. And
Jeez.
Oh
so
man.
in the hallway in my basement is about 12 little 3-gallon fermenters. And all I did is I just keep the top CO2'd, and I just pull off of the fermenters bottle carb and then enter into competitions. And so I got all that completed. And somewhere along the way I got a couple high scores for things I kind of done the first time ever. So it was kind of nice. But now that I'm done with that, I think the next thing I want to do is I got to get back to I still need to get a high score on a braggot. I got pretty close at Mazer Cup last year. I was 1 point away from a 43, and that's what you need to like. That's the highest score that you need for MHP. And so I still need to finish that one up in the mead space, and then I'll be an exalted mead master mead.
Yeah.
Bill Boyer is the only person that I know that has that right now. That's basically all the M's, all the M1s, M2s, M3s, M4s, getting a score of 43 or higher in them.
Dang.
Yeah, and so Braggott's the only one that I don't have. And I do have one perfect score.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got it at Mazer Cup a couple years ago for a blueberry mead that I made.
Ooh.
Who's the guy from Moonlight? Michael
Fairbrother.
Yeah, he's the one that gave it to me. So,
Really?
and I find his meads are fantastic. So
He makes good meads. Yeah.
yeah. So if I have to find that score sheet somewhere and put it up on the wall. But it was his feedback was he was like, this is outstanding, and I was just like blown away by it. So, and I've gotten high scores. I've gotten a few 47s. But that's the first perfect score I've ever got on a mead.
Need to shoot for that elusive triple 50.
Yeah.
I know
pretty close.
Tom got one time. I remember that. But
really?
I was Mazer. I was there when he got it. It was like, dang, look at that. Tom was over the moon.
Nice. Yeah, Tom's one of my I would say someone I look up to as a mentor.
Mhm.
Anytime I have questions on things, I usually bounce them off him, and he's awesome. He'll get back with me, and he'll like write paragraphs of information back, and I'll dig through it all. And he's a really cool guy. I really like
He
talking to him.
is. Yeah, Tom's awesome.
It was nice to finally get to meet him face to face this year at Mazer Cup.
Cool.
Very cool. You going to Mazer this year?
I am. I have it blocked off on my
Yeah,
calendar.
I'll be there too.
I had such a
Yeah,
good
same.
time last year. Those guys.
It was a fun time.
Oh yeah, it was in Milwaukee. It doesn't get enough of a good rep, and it was really cool downtown. Like they had lots of stuff you could walk to. That Belgian
Yeah.
beer bar that was like a couple blocks away was awesome. It's fun to hang out with a bunch of people that like mead and are passionate about mead, and just talking mead with all those people.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a lot of fun. We found some really nice restaurants to check out. Lots of ethnic
Yeah,
food
didn't you
there.
find that? Didn't you go to that
We
like
went to
that
that
Slovakian or Polish place?
yeah, it was like, well, they had Polish food, they had Slovakian stuff, they had a bunch of Eastern European stuff. And yeah, I ended up going out of there with a big old bag of stuff from their store next door because they had pierogi and all of that frozen. So it was like, oh God, I come home with that. My husband's like, what have you done? He should know by
We
now.
need another
right?
freezer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he's already told me I have to empty out the chest freezer, and I'm like, yeah, but you also told me I have to get rid of the upright, so one or the other stands. 3 freezers is already, they're all full.
I've made it I've tried to make it a thing that if I travel for brewing competitions or just anything, out of state, I usually try to bring a cooler with me because I know there's always some like stuff I want to bring back. Either
Absolutely, yeah.
fruit or honey or beer or meat or whatever. And I don't,
Yeah.
I want to keep it cool. I always keep a cooler with me because it used to be I wouldn't do that, and I'd be buying like coolers and cooler bags, and then they leak in the back of the car, and it's like now it's like no, I'm just gonna throw a cooler back here just in case.
Yeah, I made the mistake of taking off without a cooler last time I went. I forget where it was I was going. It was sometime this spring, and I got a couple. Oh, I know, it was last comp I went to. Couldn't have been. I don't know. Anyway, it was later in the spring, and I know, it was when I went down for Sugar Belt, and I picked up a couple bottles of stuff from one of the guys that he had pulled off his shop because it was re-fermenting in the bottle, and he's like, just keep it cold. I was like, okay. He's like, I'll let you, but you got to keep it cold. Okay, I'll do that. Yeah. I didn't get a cooler until I was fixing to head for home, and I planned on picking one up. So I've been keeping them in the fridge in my room, and I had them in the car, and one of the corks popped and it boobled all over my seats, and I was like, crap. Yeah, but I did
Buy
get
the cooler.
Yeah, I only lost a little bit, bought the cooler, and that's where they stayed. So, but yeah, that's I've gotten in the habit of that, and I always take a case with me of whatever, and yeah, I always come back with more than I leave with. I'm not quite sure how that happens.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. That's the first question my husband asked. He's like, "So, how much did you end up bringing back?" Well, I took 12 out, and I'm bringing 18 back. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's a goofy thing. So you're going to MNC, or are you going to Valks?
I don't know. I keep wanting to go, and then life comes up.
I know.
I know. I really want to come out there and judge with you guys. I forget.
It's a great comp. A lot of fun.
Well,
I think
we would
you
love
guys
to have
moved it you moved it to the spring, right?
Well, it's in February.
March. I think March.
Yeah,
March
I think
20 this next year.
Oh, that's right. It got moved back out this year, didn't it?
Yeah, because I want to go. I want to go to Poland.
I think last year it was like around spring break time, and ended up doing spring break with the family down in the Keys, and that was awesome. But I think this year should be free, so I definitely look into coming out for that one.
Yeah,
do
last
Michigan
year it was March 6, 7, this coming year it'll be March 2021.
Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, I should be able to make that. So,
Great.
but yeah, that one I do Michigan Mead Cup. Definitely gonna be doing that one. Also do Mazer Cup, and then I help at the Indiana State Fair. So if I don't have something entered into a category there, then I'll judge the mead categories um at the Indiana State Fair. Trying to think where else. Usually because I'm one of the few people that's BJCP mead certified. Usually, if I'm at a competition and they have mead entries, if I'm not entered, they're putting me in that mead category to judge it. And it doesn't
Yeah,
matter if
that's
it's
fair.
pro
Yeah.
or amateur. So you'll usually see my name pop up on score sheets. And I hope that I give good feedback to people, and because that's what I would want. So I try to do my best to give feedback if there's a flaw or if I think something's out of balance. I'll talk to them in the notes and say these are the things that would make this mead all the better. And then I hope that they
Have
take it to
you
heart.
ever had someone contact you afterwards, either to complain or to praise?
Man, I don't know. I I can't think of anybody. Um oh, I have had one. We won't talk about that one though.
Oh dear.
Oh,
We won't talk about that one. It's okay.
all right, all right.
But yeah, I had one, but it is what it is. But
Oh yeah, I mean it's
But
pretty
I mean, I've
rare,
talked
I
to
think.
people in person. Like I've judged Bill's stuff before, and then Bill has talked to me afterwards on, hey, you did judge this, and I'm like, I thought that might be yours, but I wasn't 100% sure. And he goes, your feedback was right on. This is where I'm like,
Mhm.
cool. So it's nice to hear that.
Hmm.
Yeah, Bill's one of those guys that I've when I really started getting serious into competing, me and him were always going head to head.
Yeah,
And sometimes I came out ahead, and sometimes he came out ahead. And he's a really good meat maker,
he is.
Mhm.
and he's also I consider a good friend. And I can expect that the stuff that I share with him or he shares with me, that the feedback that we give, it only makes us better meat makers,
Yeah.
and it also pushes us to make better mead. We we've joked like some of our entry names are like
Mhm.
hints towards each other. Like if you look, I think at Indiana State Fair this year, he did a Polish mead, and he was kind of making fun of the reason I make my name the cherry mead the way I do is because the inspiration from it came from Jester King's Balaton versus Montmorency, their sour cherry ale. Um,
Hmm.
and so I wanted to make a mead version of that, and so that's what I did. And then I named my mead, uh, like Michigan, you pick Montmorency versus Balaton, and then if I added another cherry, I would just go versus whatever, because it's just to me, it's you got two different cherries. They're both tart cherries. They're both battling it out to give you this excellent mead, and so that name came from that, and then he took it and then he spun it in a different way with this Polish mead name, and it went like Polish Troniak versus Matt Mead versus Cherry something. I forget what it was. So it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek joke, and I got a kick out of it when he does things like that. And I've done that for him. Like I've done ciders. He's got an infamous cider recipe that is out on the internet that I think he got from somewhere on the internet, and everybody makes it. And so like people like reference that in the name, and I've done it before, like for ciders, saying, you know, thank thank you, Bill Boyer, for this recipe, or we'll put that in the name, or we'll make little jokes and puns at each other. But it's all in good taste, and it's always good fun, and it's fun to see our names pop up there.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't there one
And
called Carvin Made Me Do It?
Yeah,
yeah,
there was.
things like
And he
that.
won a medal
Yeah,
if I remember right.
yeah, yeah. Those are always awesome. Yeah, I love creative neat mead names. When I see them in competitions, they always give me a chuckle.
Oh yeah. Well, and then you see Nathan and they're all in Latin.
Yeah.
And when he wins, it's hilarious watching the people who are announcing them. They have to say the name. That
So
doesn't always come out the way it
so
ought to.
this year, so Indiana State Fair this year, I maxed out my entries. I think it was a limit of 16 entries.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they weren't cheap, but I maxed out and I sent mostly beer and then like 3 or 4 meat insiders. And the meat insiders did really well. Everything placed there, and then all my beers, only one placed. And it was
Oh wow.
my Hefeweizen recipe, which has done really well for me in the last year. It even got into NHC to the final round. But it took a silver there. And when I put the name on it, basically I put in German, I called it like German banana hammock, but like in German. And then
Oh,
the
Jesus.
lady had to like look up the enunciation to say it, and
Oh, no.
then yeah, and there's a couple people in the audience that like knew German, and they started laughing out loud. So it was hilarious
So it does
because they
translate.
got the joke. They got the joke. Yeah.
Yeah, German's always like you're trying to gargle salt water, you know.
Like you're yelling at somebody or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
That always
but you
sounds
can't
funny.
yell. It's like you're trying to yell, but you can't. You're like,
Yeah. So that was my fun one for that. And then I've done like puns, like at Kentucky State Fair last week. One of the ones that won was my Goza, which was what goes up must come down. Bad dad jokes. Bad dad jokes. The other one
Yeah.
that won was a what was it? It was a shoot. Now I'm drawing a blank. Oh, it was crap. Now I can't remember it. Anyhow, it was a pun. It was a pun. So those are always the good ones. And then the other one that won wasn't a pun. It was just called Hawaii Stout because it had coffee and coconut in it. And so
Okay.
they were when they said the name after saying the previous two, they were like kind of disappointed. Sorry guys, I ran out of puns for that one. I
Yeah,
just
all
called it
right.
coffee stout or Hawaiian stout because it had coconut and coffee in it.
Yeah. For a while, Rob's were all getting named after things in Princess Bride. Rob Barnhart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
that's
then
like Bill.
he
Bill
ran
does
out of
stuff.
Princess Bride references. He's
Yeah.
got to come up with something else.
Well, Bill does all his based on Monty Python.
Yeah, which there's
are always
endless references there.
fun. Oh
you
yeah.
know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I name all my beers after Alice Cooper songs.
There you go. Yeah.
No, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Me guys have like little things like that. I think Peter from Second City, he had a bunch of um more what's that cartoon on
Oh, and Adult Swim maybe.
Adult Swim, yeah, the Morty.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty.
Oh,
Rick and
Morty. Yeah.
So
God.
his meads have like hints towards that, like
Oh, dear
like,
God.
yeah. So there's a
I
bunch
wouldn't
of
get
them
any of
there.
those. I've only ever watched that once or twice. So.
So everybody has their little niche when it comes to naming their meads. It's kind of
Yeah.
fun. They're kind of and then sometimes you'll get it and sometimes you don't, and then someone points it out to you, and you're like, oh, that's what that means.
Oh, that makes so much more sense now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no
Exactly.
kidding. Yeah. So are you working mostly with it? I mean, what size are your batches? Are you doing 5 gallons? Are you doing 1 gallons? I mean, shoot, you're entering like buku meads all over the place. So
I usually do 3 or 5 gallons. So if I'm
okay.
doing small batch, I'm doing 3. If I'm doing a big batch, I'm doing 5. There's a few times I've really pushed the limit and I've done like barrel of mead, like the big, what do you call them? The Speedles, the big plastic.
Oh, Spidles. Yeah, I've got one
Yeah.
of those. What is it? The 32 liter one or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I have
I've got the one that's like 13
7.
gallons.
Yeah, I have one that's like a 7 that I use for when I
Okay.
do my cherry meads. But then, like I said, the guy that got me in the meads and was doing a meadery, and then he kind of petered out with it. He had a bunch of the big barrels, so I got 2 of those from him, and so I did a cherry mead one year that way, and I did a blueberry mead that way, and those ones were like what 10 gallons, 12 gallons. I forget how big they are. Those big guys. So those I think are pushing it for a home mead maker. Like that's a lot to deal with, and so I don't do that very
Yeah.
often.
Yeah, I have one 15-gallon demijohn, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 7-gallon is probably at the fermentation size, and then I get 5 gallons off of it, and I lose 2 gallons to either like material from the fruit or yeast sediment. But usually I'll end up around 5 gallons if I'm doing like 7 gallons worth of mead. But yeah, that's the other side of dealing with whole fruit is having a press. So I'll either do a colander and I'll press it out using a big spoon, or I'll use a wine press. I have like a 1-gallon wine press a friend gave me. I wish I had one of those nice bladder presses. That would make my life so much easier, but they're so
Mhm.
expensive. So I keep an eye out on Facebook Marketplace, hoping that one will pop up from someplace.
Yeah.
I made my cider press out of a couple of 4x4s and a carb jack.
That's what I thought about doing a few times for ciders. I
The
usually
scissor
do
jack works better than the bottle jack. I keep blowing the bottle jacks.
Yeah. I was thinking about picking up a steam juicer.
Yeah, I thought about
I don't
doing
think
that
you'll
as well.
regret that.
I've so there's positives and negatives to steam juicing. And I
Okay.
know some people are very positive towards it. I'm kind of in the middle. But the thing that I have problems with them are that because you're heating the fruit and you're steaming to get it to juice, you caramelize the sugars when you do that, and you change the flavor profile of the fruit. So it's not so much like fresh fruit, but it's more like a jammy fruit you get out of it.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
my problem too.
yeah, and so that's why I tend to not want to use those. But in certain situations, they actually are really nice. Like I would say, like if you got to deal with boysenberries or any kind of like raspberry, where you don't want to have all that, um, the little fibers or the seeds.
Mhm.
I would say even strawberry, like
Yeah, honeyberries
steam
was a good one
juicing.
for that too, I think.
Yeah, honeyberries, like steam juicing is probably the way to go. But if you're dealing with something like blueberries or or cherries, where it's like a larger fruit, I would just ferment that fruit out because I like the skin contact, I like the seed contact. I think that adds a complexity to the mead. I also think that as the yeast go in there and break that down, and then you just press it out, you'll get pretty much everything that you need there. You got to mess, you got to clean up after. But yeah, I definitely think for the seedier type fruits, a steam juicer's good for that, and I'm all for that. I just don't think
Do
it's
you
something I want to use for
go
like cherries and blueberries and things.
do you go free range with your fruit or do you bag it?
I free range.
Mm-hmm.
I've done bagging, but I find that like I'm just gonna scoop it out and put it into a colander or run it through a press, and a bag's on the press, and I'll just do it that way. I'll just press it out.
So your little wine press, is it a
It's the
one of
like
the
the one
flat
gallon.
type
It
like an apple press would be?
Yeah, it looks like a little. I think they're called 1 gallon Italian wine. They're steel, and it's
Oh,
just like
there's
a.
okay.
And you just twist the little thing on top.
So it's got like a screw.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, interesting.
and
So
so
I
I'll
have one
use.
of those spiffy bladder presses, and that thing is that's the
That's the
bomb.
way to go. That's
That's the
what I
bomb.
want. I'm
Yeah,
jealous.
they're nice.
That's what I want.
It gets loaned out a lot.
I'm sure. Yeah, those things. That's the way to go. I've done the wood ones where it's got like what do you call it? The little jack. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
like
The
dealing with the wood. Like the wood to me is a spot for like bugs and things to like get into your stuff.
The
And
one where it
Well,
looks like a
particularly
bucket with
since
slats that you're pressing into.
yeah,
Yeah, I get that.
you are pressing post fermentation, so that makes a bigger difference. For
Mm.
somebody
correct.
who's pressing fruit in advance to get the juice, a lot smaller risk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
what
you can
mine
always
is
sulfite it afterwards or before you
Mhm.
you know ferment it just to like kill off any wild stuff.
Right.
But it's still like in my mind. It's just I did one once. I got one loaned to me, and I just was not. It was just a pain because you had to slide those little bricks in, and I would rather just do the bladder press thing. Those things are so slick. But the one that I use is this called a Ferrari aluminum stainless steel press. I could put a copy of the URL in the chat.
Mhm.
Okay.
If you want to see what it looks like. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was
And
thinking.
I use that for like pressing apples or pears. Like the Perry that I won at Indiana State Fair this year, it beat out the other Perrys because the other Perrys were kit Perrys and mine was
Yeah.
pressed.
Yeah,
And I
totally
used
different.
Kefir pears, and they said the reason mine won was because it had more of a rustic note to it versus like standard pear juice you get at the store or whatever. Um, and that's because I got my pears from the farmers or the market near here down in Kalamazoo, and then I came home with them and I basically let them sit for a few days, and then I chopped them all up and run them through like a grinder, and then I just pressed them out using that press, and
Mhm.
then
Oh, so you
I just
didn't ferment directly on the fruit in that case. You just pressed the
nope.
juice out?
I pressed the juice
Oh.
out. Pears are nasty.
pears go funky really
They have
fast.
this. They have. Well, I think this. Okay, so of all the fruits that I've had to deal with, pears are the one that I always have pestle issues. Like every time I try to ferment pears, like even after I get done fermenting it, I have pestle issues. This year was the first time I actually got through a pear ferment, and I got done with it, and it didn't get wild on me even afterwards.
Yeah,
So
I
I
I
don't know
find
why.
pears are the only one that I sulfite the fruit before I start
Yeah,
because
I
I've had them
like
in the
apples
space
you
it
can get
takes.
away with it.
Yeah, in the space between when I make wine I pour hot water over them. In the space it takes between pouring the hot water over them and when it cools, I've had mold form.
Yeah,
So
there's just something
I now
about
always it's the one thing I always sulfite before I start.
yeah, they're the one fruit that I've always had like problems with, and I don't know if it's just me, but it's just like as soon as
It's
it's
not just
pressed,
you. They spoil really, really easily.
they they oxidize so
Yep.
easily.
And they turn brown. Yeah, I got the Perry that I'm drinking right now has a little tiny bit of oxidation, but not really a surprise given how long it's been in the bottle.
Yeah, it's one of those fruits. It's very touchy. So
Yep.
like I said, I chopped it up or pressed it out. I got the juice done in a day, and then I sulfited it, and then I waited a day or two, and then I did Cote de Blanc on it, and
Mm.
it came out to a really it dried out, and then I saved some of the juice, I froze it, and then I used that to back sweeten with, and I used Kevin. You gave me a great tip a long time ago. Let's say, and I use that now to this day for all my ciders
Ha!
and
How
sizers.
about that?
As an awesome tip, and I share it. Anybody asks, I always share. This is the best way to get the best back sweetening. It's
Well,
an
that's great.
awesome
I'm
tip.
glad it works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that is to save some of the juice and freeze it, and then set it. And then when your fermentation's done, you stabilize, and then you just set the juice container over your fermenter and let it de-thaw and drain the sugar to
Mm.
concentrate down, and just leave the ice behind like you're doing an ice
Oh, that's freaking
cider.
brilliant.
And then that's how you get the flavor concentration of the sugars back into it without add extra water and watering down your pear, your cider, your mead, whatever.
Hmm.
It's a great trick.
Yeah, cryo concentration gives you the best, most intense fruit flavor that you can add back in.
Yep. So if you're
I
doing
have to
an
try
ice
that.
cider, just go to the store. Well, I didn't say the store because you got to be careful that sometimes the stores put sorbet and stuff in their cider. But if you go to your local cider stand and you try the cider and it's nice and tart and sweet, then take it a couple gallons home, throw it in the freezer, and then just turn it upside down and drain about half of it back, melt it back, and then now you can make ice cider, or you can,
Yep.
it's really awesome. It's a great trick.
Good. Very glad.
But yeah, that's what I did for that, and that's what I did. I use that a lot. The cider I entered, that was the Indiana only cider. Same thing. I went and got cider from a place down in Indiana, and it was a trip, so I brought a cooler with me. So it was nice. I could bring it home, keep it cold the entire time. And when I got home, I did that, fermented it, stabilized it, back sweetened it, and it came out pretty good. So I entered I carved it up, put it in a keg, entered in a couple competitions, did really well for me. I think I won a couple times with it now. So didn't win at Kentucky State Fair. I was kind of hoping it would, because I named the cider after the place I got it from down, and it's right on the border of Kentucky and Indiana. There's a farm down there that does distilling. That's called Husted's. And so I named it Husted's cider. So, and then I gave it the year that I got it, and I was kind of hoping that I would have won because I wanted them to like call the name out, and then everybody go, "Oh, that's from right here," even though the guy's from Michigan that won it. So it didn't work out. Oh well.
But they weren't listening, so never mind.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. So we got some Nathan questions.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, you're in trouble now. Okay, so first one says Montmorency or Balaton, Summit or Danube Cherry, and others. What are your favorite aspects about this stone fruit as especially revered in your mead making?
Oh yeah, this is a good question. I will say this. One of my, I guess Ken Schramm's like a hero to me, and he's also a good friend. And I want to say that he's the one that inspired me to make that mead. I think one of my first meads I ever had was Schramm's Balaton, and that mead just blew me away. Like just the freshness of the cherries and the complexity of a cherry, and then looking into the history of where that cherry comes from, being that it's from like Turkey and it was brought over here to the U.S. It's just it's a really interesting cherry type, and the type of tart cherries out there, everyone has a little bit of this different complexity to it. Your standard Montmorency cherries are what you find like in your cherry pies that you get from the store. They're big, they're bright, they're tart. They're not super complex, but they're just what you expect when you think tart cherry. And then Balaton just takes what Montmorency, but it like adds this really cool complexity to it that gives you these cinnamon notes, and you get kind of a blend of a sweet cherry, yet it's still tart. So you get a really darker red out of it, and you get these really cool like cinnamon notes and marzipan notes from it. And Danube is kind of like, if I were to build a scale, and the lower level is, or one side is Montmorency and the other side is Balaton. I find in the middle of that would be like what Danube is, and it's kind of like between the super tartness of a Montmorency, but still has some of those complex things that the Balaton cherry does. And I would love to get my hands on some Charbixie.
Yeah, I think the only Sharpies in Michigan are in Ken's Orchard. So.
Well, there's an orchard that might be for sale here. So.
Yeah, I know. There is an orchard on my side of the state that has them. It's south. It's in wait a second. So there's another cider place here, Virtue Cider, in let me find it. Fenville. So in the Fenville area, Virtue Cider's there, and there is a fruit farm south of there that has a Charbixi tree I found, and they're the ones
Okay.
that provided cherries to Virtue, because Virtue had a Charbixi cider 1 or 2 years.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh, I'd
so
love to try
I
Sharpie
found out that they
cider. That'd
were the
be
ones that
great.
had it, and so I tried to reach out to them to like try to get a clipping, or if I could just grab some cherries, like a small amount, and nope, no luck. They
Hmm.
wouldn't budge, so I struck out there. So I have cherry trees in my yard. I have a Montmorency tree, and then I just planted this year on my birthday a Belton cherry tree, and I would love to get like a clipping or that, so I could also have a Charbixi tree in my yard. But I just haven't had any luck with that yet.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to say go over, and if you're doing if you're doing grafting and stuff, Ken's really good at that. He'd probably be,
Yeah, I
they're
haven't figured.
looking for ways to keep him from working too hard.
Yeah, I wish I was on that side of the state. If I lived on that side of the state, I
That's right.
would
You're on
look.
the west side, aren't you?
Yeah, I would look at like if it would be possible to like help buy the orchard, or
Yeah.
I'm just so far away. It's 2.5 hours, and it's
Where
just
are you?
I'm in Grand Rapids,
Oh, you're
Michigan.
down. Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to, if I come down, I'll be coming down that way. Probably not too far. I'll let you know.
Yeah, there's a
I'm
couple
about
meters.
2 hours north of you, so.
Yeah, there's a couple meters here. One's
Mhm.
closing downtown called Arctos, but there's another one.
Arctos is closing.
Yep, but
Oh, you didn't make it, huh?
Adesanya
Sorry.
in Wyoming is still open,
Okay, I haven't been to
and
Adesanya yet. I've been to Arctos, but
yeah,
I hadn't been to Adesanya.
and then there's another one out in Middleville.
Yeah, that's they do the mead and learns every month.
Yeah, they have
Oh shoot, what's the name of that place? Now you got me thinking about it here. They got a really long. There we go. Grimsby Hollow.
that's
Haven't
it.
been there yet. Haven't been there
Yeah,
yet either. So.
all their meads are like themed around like Grimsby tales
Mm-hmm.
in Ireland and stuff. I think they went
Yeah,
over, and
their
that's
drink mead learn things this month is, and I love this, Victorian potions and poisons.
yeah, they're really
We go
cool.
drink mead, and they're teaching you about poison. Like,
They my homebrew store is about a mile down the road, and they do wine and mead tastings, and so I got to
oh, cool.
talk to them and meet them one day, and talk mead with them, and their stuff was really good. I was really impressed with it. I wish
No,
it's
I'll
just
have
they're
to.
out in Middleville, so you have to drive out there, but it's
Yeah.
definitely worth it if you ask me. They have really good mead.
Hey, we don't have a brew shop anywhere near me. Like, nowhere within at least an hour. So if when I come down, we're possibly going to be looking at going to get rid of the big RV and maybe get a little one. But when I come down there, then I'll just have to hit you up and we'll coordinate so that
Yeah.
it's when you have time, because I know you got to work and stuff. So.
Yeah, and I'm also, I mean, this is starting to become my busy time of the year, because on top of like doing mead making and competitions, I'm also a referee, and it's football
Uh-huh.
season, so I'll be
It
busy
is, yes.
every like Thursdays and Fridays are usually my busy days, and sometimes Wednesdays I'll be roughing. So
Likely when I come down, it would be like over a weekend, because my
yeah,
husband would probably come with me if we're coming down to look in a RV, and then
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, so if on weekends, if I'm not like traveling to a competition or whatever, yeah, let me know,
Okay.
and I'll meet up with you.
All right, cool. I'd love that. That'd be great. And
Yeah.
that leads us right into the next Nathan question, amazingly.
Okay.
With as many competitions as you participate in each year, some being notably more expensive entry points than others, how do you afford your rock and roll lifestyle? And how has your experience in these, the good and bad, shaped your process in future recipe development?
Well, I mean, in regards to like what I enter and what I don't enter, I'm a lot more picky about it now. Usually I look at what do the awards look like? That's going to be like teasing me. If your medals aren't, up to date and they're dinky and they're not really cool, then I'm usually not entering your competition. Um, and then the other thing is, I guess, cost for entry. So,
Mhm.
if you're a small competition, if you don't have a really high cost, then I might enter you. Um, the big ones I really try to always hit up are like Blue Bonnet in Texas Indiana State Cup, and then my local ones, and then some of the ones here in the Midwest I try to do. There's a circuit for Midwest for brewing,
Okay.
so I'll try to do those competitions. I really like KCBM. IBU has a competition in Iowa I like to do. Mead Me in St. Louis I try to do, though I don't know if I'm gonna get into it this year. I just haven't had time to like go sign up, and I think the sign up's just wrapped up on that one. So
Okay.
we'll see. I might see if I can get myself in there, but I always try to do like the mead comps. So
Are
I'll
you
do
going to MMC this year?
Michigan Mead Cup. Yeah, I'm planning
Yeah.
on it.
Okay.
I'll be there.
All right. I'm assuming you're entering as well. So.
Yeah, I have my 5 entries in.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, I usually just look at because now it's not so much about having to enter it because I don't have an entry. I haven't won in that state. Now it's more along the lines of, do I want to win one of those cool medals? And then how I pay for it, mostly from my reffing. That kind of fuels my hobby. So like, if I do football, I make about $100 a game. And then, so if I do a couple of games, I'll make $200 a week. If I do hockey, I make usually $50 a game. So I usually, that kind of covers my hobby for the most part.
Okay.
So when
I
with
was
all the
wondering
brewing you're
because
doing and the repping, when do you
Mhm.
have time to spend with your family?
Oh, I spend lots of time with
Yeah.
them. Spend lots of time with them. If you follow me on Facebook or whatever, you see like we go to baseball games. We travel a few times a year. Spring break, we do all kinds of stuff. My daughter's
Well, don't you have
entering.
one fixing to go off to college? Your daughter's
Yep,
18 now, isn't she?
yep. She's about to go to college, so that's moving. Actually, is this Thursday.
Oh,
So
where's
I'll
she
be
All
helping
going?
right.
her.
So empty nester coming up here soon.
Not
No, he's got a boy.
entirely.
He's got a
I
big
got
boy
5
at
more
home. Yeah.
years. I have a son is 8th grader, but
Oh, okay.
he's
Okay.
looking to go to Central Michigan. He's
Okay.
big in the he's big in the earth sciences,
Oh, okay.
particularly he's a weather nut and a sports nut.
Oh, cool.
So so he wants to be a weatherman. So in Michigan, I think Central has a really good um,
Meteorology
meteorology
program. Yeah.
program as well as so he's planning to go there, even though
Where's
he's
your
got
girl
5 more
going?
years. My daughter Violet, she's going to Aquinas, so that's still here in
Oh,
town. It's just on the
yeah.
other side of town, so she's not super far away.
Okay.
She plays lacrosse,
Mm.
Okay.
so that's where a lot of my other money was going to
Right?
Yeah. I was gonna
was
say you're about
Uh-huh.
to have a whole lot less money if she's going to college.
yeah. So it's not too bad. She did really good. She got pretty much scholarships and everything,
Oh,
and I
nice.
think she only had to pay like 5,000 a semester of her own money, and so she got student loans for that. So it's
I
really not that
I feel
bad.
so bloody old because it was like $300 a semester for a full um
Yeah,
15 credits.
when I was in
2,500 for me.
when I
Yeah.
was in school, like school for a semester was like $800 to
Mhm.
maybe like $1,200 a semester, like after all the credits.
Yeah.
And now it's like insane. I don't
Oh,
think
I
you
know. It blows my mind. It's like, I have to agree with my younger friends where they're like, you boomers had it so easy. I'm like, well, college was a lot cheaper then. That was before all this college loan stuff
It
hit
was a
me.
lot cheaper.
Nuts,
We
but,
also earned a tenth of what we earn now.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
But so there's that. But it just blows my mind. I was afraid to look honestly when I was at Tech. Like, what does it cost us? They were in quarters when I was there. Now they're on traditional semesters. But I was like afraid to see what it would cost because I had to put myself through school. So my parents didn't have the money. It was, you're going to college, but we're sorry, we have no money.
Yeah.
So I did it on loans and work study programs, but
Yeah, so
yeah, I
for
hear
her,
you.
she's got most of it covered, and what isn't
Oh, that's
covered is
good.
covered by loans. And so if
Okay.
she only goes through 4 years of school, she won't be that big of a hole,
Mm-mm.
and I think that'll work out good. But
That
she
was
gets
my
to
daughter had nearly a full ride at VT Virginia Tech, and the Army gave her pretty much a full ride, and then she had student loans for incidental yada yadas.
Yeah, that's
And
what this is kind of like.
she ended up with, I think, about 15 grand by the time it was all said and done in loans.
Yep.
So it wasn't terrible, you know.
When you enter competitions, do you have specific tactics that you like to employ, like where you enter, that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean
for some
different
things,
comps around the country, but in a specific comp.
For a specific comp. Well, like I'll look at if I'm trying to win like certain amount of medals, I might look at trying to target
emptier categories.
I'll look at categories and I'll look which ones are not the most popular, and I'll enter those if I'm really wanting to like win medals in that category. Like there's not a lot of people entering dry meads, and I like dry meads, and you know, and that's an area where like I would rather enter into and spend my time on, both because I have a higher chance of winning, and also because that's a mead that I want to drink. It's, you know, like a hydromel or whatever. So you know, those type of things I'll do. It's not something I do all the time, but certain competitions I'll look at that and see, you know, if that's what I want to do. Like Michigan Beer Cup this year, I looked at the history of the competition, and I looked at what are the ones that everybody's entering in, and everybody enters in lagers, or anybody enters in like IPAs. Those are the big categories. So I'm like, well, I'm not gonna enter those, but I'll enter the sour beer category, or I'll enter the Scotch ale or whatever, like the smaller categories. On the beer side. On the mead side, there's a lot of guys that make mead because we have the Michigan Mead Coalition here in Michigan. So they drive up. They basically help push mead in Michigan, and so there's a lot of mead makers now that are making really good mead, and some of that comes from that group of guys. So I don't tend to enter too much anymore in that spot. I'll usually do one mead and everything else beer, just so I keep myself active in it. But there's a lot of good mead makers here. I ended up judging that category this year, and there was a lot of good meads. A few that needed some balance issues, but I mean, no. I find this in a lot of competitions. A lot of guys know how to make good mead. They just need to work on balancing things. Like I don't run into issues with like nutrient problems or major oxidation issues or like fusels. Like most of the meat that I judge is pretty clean. Occasionally there would be like little hints of that going on from things, but the biggest area I usually see is it's either like really sweet and it needs to be balanced with some acids and tannins, can help round it out. And I think that just comes from experience drinking good mead and entering competitions and getting feedback towards that, and then trying good examples and trying to kind of replicate that in your own mead.
When you're balancing your own mead and you think it would benefit from some tannin, how are you going about adding that? What's your process?
There's a guy, I don't remember his name. He was on Modern Mead Makers, and he had a recipe where you take like, I forget, like 100 milliliters of distilled water and 10 grams of a acid, and you mix it together, and then I would put that into some squeeze bottles, and I would just grab like a couple ounces of a mead, and I'll just play around with adding some acids, or I'll have some pre-made tannins. I'll just take a few drops of tannins and mix them in, and I'll just see how it tastes to me in that sample. And if I feel like, oh, if I just add a little bit more acid or a little bit more tannins, it just kind of pops more. It's a little bit more alive. Then I make sure that when I'm bottling mead, I'm just making a few tweaks to it at that point in time to kind of line up with with that same flavor profile. So it's my
And-
version of doing a bench trial, but it's not super scientific.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I get it. So what type of tannin products are you mixing into that solution that you're making?
So the one I usually use is just standard. Actually, that's two things. I'll use wine tannins and I'll use wood tannins. So wine tannins are just from the skins of the grapes, or I'll
Mhm.
use wood tannin where I'll take some wood and I'll boil it on the stove, and then it gives me tannic water, and I'll just use some of that tannic water and add that back.
Hmm.
Oh, that's
There's
different.
also specific wine tannins that I usually just use during fermentation, which are like FT Red and FT Blanc.
Mhm.
But I don't ever add those like in secondary. You can, but I don't. I usually just use straight up wine cannons. Yeah, Ryan Carlson, that's the guy. Rob
Yeah,
knows
that's the
it.
guy. Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, he's the one that had talked about that somewhere on Modern Mead Makers. And so if I'm making, like, I'll make an acid of, I'll make a sample of, say, tartaric acid, and I'll do one for citric acid, and then I'll do one for acid blend or whatever, and then I'll just mess around with those and find where I kind of like where it tastes, and then I just make sure I kind of add that same amount back to the
Yeah,
bottle or to the carboy.
you just have to upsize it.
Yeah, you
I
just
got
gotta
to,
play around with the estimates.
yeah, I
Do a
got to
little
sit
math.
down with Brad at Be Nectar when he was doing bench trials one day, and he basically hijacked me. I got shanghaied and press ganged into, okay, sit down here and taste all of these.
He's got. I want to buy one of these. I talked to him at MeadCon a couple of years ago. I think Kevin, you were there. It was when you did
Yep.
the water
Mhm.
presentation,
Mhm.
and I talked to Brad about that. He's got one of those scientific pipette systems where you
Yep.
can do the exact
Yeah,
amount, and
yeah.
I've always
That's
wanted
what
to
I
buy
use.
one of those. I just haven't gotten around to it. They're not super
Well, the
expensive.
plastic one that he linked into that presentation was like $15. So don't wait, don't hesitate. Go straight to your register and pay for that thing.
Okay. No, I use the pipettes, the little
Yeah.
rubber. I use those ones. I get a thing of those for like $5 or $10 on Amazon, and then I'll use those for adding, like, if I do my beer, when I do beers, I'll add like lactic acid or phosphoric acid, and I'll mess around with the pipettes to add because those have like marks for 1, 2, 3 milliliters on them. So those are
Mhm.
kind of nice to, like, if you're trying to like nail down exactly how much you're adding. I also have like some cups that have milliliter marks on them. Um, but yeah, I've been meaning to buy one of those like more scientific like ones. I just haven't
They're
gotten around to
pretty
doing it yet.
nice. They
I want
I
to
really
will
are.
say
say
that
I did
there's,
buy with some of my winnings like a couple years. So when I first did NHC and I won like 3 medals one year, they were giving away like $50. You get $50 gift cards from Northern Brewer.
oh, nice.
And so I took all my gift cards and I bought myself an Easy Dens. And that
Oh,
was when an Easy Dens was like $200. So I put 150 towards it, and then I paid $50 out of my pocket. And so that's like my hydrometer of choice for for basically testing anything beer, mead, cider related. It's awesome. Like if I get a sample of a cider or a mead or a beer, and I just let it decarb on the counter, and then the next day I pull a little ounce or two off of that, and then I run that through the Easy Dens, and before you know it, I know exactly what the final gravity is of something, and it helps me have a better idea of what what's what's a commercial example and what a final example is on a commercial example, and then being able to then make sure my meads and things are kind of meeting that same final level.
Is that what you just posted a picture of, Kevin?
yep.
That's
Okay,
the
just checking. It looks like jumped up markers.
Yeah, but no, you put a like a 2 milliliter or 8 milliliter pipette into the bottom there, that little white thing at the bottom unscrews, and there's like a rubber opening there that you can just insert the pipette into, and then that little rolling wheel allows you to draw volume up into the pipette, and then that trigger allows you to squeeze it with the palm of your hand, all one-handed operation, to release the volume. And you can run the roller back the other way to release smaller amounts. It's just it's slick. They're like $8, $10, $15, and highly recommend those things. They are absolutely fantastic for the kind of balancing that Matt's talking about and the kind of thing that I do.
Yeah, they even got like more scientific ones, like ones that they use in labs. That's what I was kind of looking at, maybe spending money on. They sell them for like anywhere between like $30 and $200, $400. I'm not gonna spend that much, but
That's
you can get a
range.
pretty nice like higher end one for like $50. That
for sure you can. But
so I might buy one of those. But yeah,
really
those work just as well. Those work just
very
fine.
affordable for just about anybody. But yeah, I mean, sky's the limit, right? We can. That's one thing that's kind of cool about living in America is you have access to just about anything you want at any price point. If you have the money,
if you can find it, it's there, and if you've got the money, you can usually get it. So
you can get lab grade materials now that you couldn't have gotten 50 years ago.
Well,
back in the day, we were all buying lab glass, for various things. In the early days, it was like, oh yeah, I've got a whole set of Erlenmeyer flasks. It's like, okay. Last time I saw those was chemistry in college.
From Fisher Scientific for $43 a piece. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like, I will give More Beer some big credit that they were buying wine products that only the big wine companies had access to or had money to have access to, like the enzymes and the antioxidants and the things that the pros are using, and they basically took those, broke them down, and repackaged them for home brewers. So now we can have access to things that where if you wanted to get that, you had to spend $100 or $200 to buy like a brick of it. They sell it in a couple ounces. So you have access to all these different enzymes and tannins and antioxidants and all these tools that you didn't have access to. And I don't know when they started doing that, but I mean, I learned it from Carvin, and some of those guys would talk about it, and I'm like, oh, I never heard of this stuff. And I started looking into it, and I'm like, holy crap, I didn't even know we had access to this stuff. And when I started looking into it, I'm like, oh, well, the reason why it was only available from More Beer or whatever was because they only sold it in like large quantities that these big manufacturers would use. So More Beer was taking it and resizing it in such a way that us homebrewers could use it. So
That's nice.
It helps make your mead. You don't have to use it, but it does help improve your mead. Especially when you're dealing with antioxidants or enzymes, like you're dealing with fruit. Enzymes are a huge deal. You gotta, you can freeze your fruit and dethaw your fruit and get as much juice out of it. But sometimes when you do that, it also causes oxidation with your fruit, and you can do things like cold maceration and stuff with these enzymes, and it will break the fruit down for you before you even start fermenting it.
Right. And with products like pectic enzyme or lalazyme in particular, your yield in the juice goes up quite a bit. So pectic enzyme, my testing is about 15% more, and with lalazyme, it's almost 20% more.
Wow.
Using a bladder press.
I was actually pre-treating my apples with pectic enzyme before I was doing my cider press, and I found I got drier results from the stuff after I pressed it. So I'm guessing I got a better yield too.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. I've tested it a number of times.
I mean, it helps with the clarity, and then you can use things like Opti White to help with the oxidation, as well as so it keeps it brighter, and you don't get the dinginess like the browning of your apples
Mhm.
or your fruit. And then you can add pre-fermentation tannins. You can add post-fermentation tannins, and you don't have to just only use wine skin. You can use things that are made from tree nuts, seeds, stems. That's what the FT Blanc and the FT Red um, are. Those things are available to you.
Right. And like you say, you don't have to do it, but when you're talking about competitions, it's those little things that separate the very good from the excellent.
Yeah, I will
Mhm.
say I when I started taking advantage of those tools, and I call them tools because I feel like you don't need to use them. It's just like
They're
you
just
can
handy
use a
tools.
hammer to do a job, or you can get a electric hammer, a nail gun, and do the job, and it makes your life you get better. So you don't have to use these things, but they do make a big difference. And when they add up, like they're little differences that add up to a big difference. And so you don't have to use them, but they do make a big improvement. I definitely saw an improvement on the quality of my mead making when I started taking advantage of these things. And it's the same for like in the beer space. There's a lot of things you do to minimize um, oxidation, both at a post fermentation and pre fermentation point with your wort. And you don't have to do those things. You can make pretty decent beer without doing those things. But if you're going to put yourself up against others, there's the people who do those things and there's people that don't. And the people who win things are the ones that are doing it. And so if you're just making something for yourself, yeah, you can cut those corners. You don't have to put that amount of effort into it. But if you're going to compete and it's the best of the best at that level, and you really need to like look at your whole process and look at from start to finish, how can you make the best final product? Because the other guy's doing it, and so it's definitely something you if you want to be on the same level as them, then you need to be able to doing it as well.
Yeah, I guess that
Do we
makes
have any
sense.
more Nathan questions?
I think we
I'm not
do have a
actually
couple
looking.
more Nathan questions. Okay. Of lions and tigers, okay, quote, of lions and tigers and Red Wings, unquote. How has alignment of your sports fan experiences and available beverage choices may have also led you to be a better beer brewer in your travels, sampling a wide variety across states?
I will say that traveling and getting to try things from other parts of the country is always eye-opening. Um, I will say Sugar Belt was a really cool way to get like mead makers from all across the country to come to one spot and get to try
Mm-hmm.
things from everywhere.
There's some great stuff there too, boy.
Yeah, I get blown away by um, I guess like Chad stuff for the longest time was very
Oh
inspirational.
gosh, yeah, Chad makes great stuff.
Um, and then Joe now in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh,
you
it
know,
does. I marry him.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that dude, everything I always have from him just blows me away.
it's
He
just
does
so good.
such
Yeah,
a good job. And
I
that place
plan on
down there,
stopping there next time I'm
oh my
down in
God,
Florida.
place down there is beautiful. His girlfriend, wife, she put in they did such a nice job with that place. It's beautiful.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
cool. I'll
it's
when I get down
definitely
there next.
highly recommend if you're in the Orlando area to making a stop there. That place was
Okay.
cool. And like I said, all his meads are always excellent. He does such a great
Yeah.
job. I think my favorite mead that he's ever done is a dry mead. He gave
Mm-hmm.
me this sample of this dry mead that was I don't think it was orange blossom, but I think it was like a Florida honey. And like the complexity on it as well as still being dry, it was like a Riesling, like a very fine wine that you could just sit there and swirl and just go back to and enjoy. And every time you sipped it, like you'd find something new in it. It was
Oh,
it was
cool.
amazing. And his meads are just amazing. And then Billy, oh my God,
Yeah,
the stuff
Billy's
he does at Lost Cause. Every time I go to
incredible.
San Diego, I have to go there.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't been there since they were literally the last time I was there. They were building out the original location at that point, so I have not been out there since they went live with the location. Not to say that he didn't have me tasting all kinds of stuff they were working on, but they did. Yeah, I also got to see Alex's place at on that same week. So
he has two meads that he does that were like mind blowing to me. One was his limoncello mead.
Oh, the limoncello is great.
And then his first bottle of Wolf that he made for when his son was born, like just the complexity with all the different things in it. Like it has tea and black peppercorn and all these different crazy fruits things. It was just like super complex. Stuff like here in the Midwest, like Tony does awesome stuff. I love
Tony's
music.
stuff is great.
Yeah.
And Corey's stuff is really good.
Corey
Mason,
really good.
yeah. And at Crafted Artisan.
Yep.
Shoot, what's his name? I can't. I'm drawing a blank here. But anyway, his
down
stuff
in
is,
Ohio.
Yeah, down in Ohio. He's over in Mogador.
Kent.
Yep.
Kent. Thank you, Kent Waldeck. Yes, thank you. I was drawing a complete blank there. But yeah, Kent's stuff is great. He made a pie mint that's one of the best pie mints I've ever had. And he tried to call it a pie mint, and TTB got ugly at him. So he's like in your face pie mint is what he ended up calling it, because he was trying to name it after the grape, and they were like, you can't do that.
I will say locally here, St. Ambrosia.
St. Ambrose is great. Yeah, they're 30 minutes north of me. If you ever decide you want to go up there, come up here. I got a spare bedroom. You crash over. We'll go hang out.
Their Star Thistle mead
is to die for. Yeah,
it was one of the first meads where it's a very simple honey, but it's just super clean and expressive, and it was what made me go, oh my God, I think I'm addicted to traditional meads now.
Yeah. His trads are really good. I mean, he does a great job with them. His Tupelo is also really excellent.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I have a little shelf in my basement where I keep all my honey reserves, and I have a ton of honeys that I've bought from just trying someone else's mead and going,
yeah.
brain
I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that. Like, oh my God, I've got to get some of this.
And so now I need to get this honey because I need to make this mead now.
What is this? I must have it.
Exactly. Yes. So there's a whole pile of I'm not like a Carvin. If you've seen Carvin's honey room pictures.
I've seen pictures. I've seen pictures of the lineup in the hallways, and I'm amazed Robin puts up with that.
Yeah, I'm not at that level, but yeah. I have like
Carvin's got a bit more disposable income than a lot of us do, I think. Yeah. So.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, you try something and you go, wow, and then you're like, I need to make something like this.
Yeah.
Like my favorite honey to this day is still yellow sweet clover. Like,
oh, the cinnamon no one.
Yeah,
they only get every couple of years up there. Yeah,
it's like the
Wayne
apple
Gibbons,
pie and
Gibbons one.
Yeah. Yes,
I have 2 gallons of that honey, and I'm like, yes.
Wayne and Tom also gets it as a beekeeper up there, and like that honey, it's like liquid apple pie.
It really is. Yeah, it is. It's the most awesome honey. I'm almost afraid with it for fear I'm not going to do it justice.
I feel like I know someone told me once, like, they entered it in a meat comp and they swore that there was cinnamon added to it. Like, no, this is a spice meat, and it's like,
it tastes like it, yeah.
This is.
I got dinged for that.
I got dinged for it too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you declare it as a trad and it doesn't actually have cinnamon, then it's bogus of them to ding you for it.
It's called clover, but it's a different type of clover than the clover.
Yeah, and it doesn't. And Gibbons he's got his hives in those fields every year, and that cinnamony clover only happens every couple of years.
That's because sweet yellow clover is a biennial.
Yeah,
it's a biennial. Like, okay, I was wondering about that. Okay.
Like an alfalfa or something. Like, I was looking at the plant itself, and it's like, it only comes up if, like, there's a certain amount of rain, and it only comes up like on those every couple years.
It's a biennial, and it depends on the weather. Yes.
Yeah.
So even
Yep.
on the
It's
biennial
very weather
year, it may not turn out like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So it's like whenever they get that, he gets cleaned out. Like mead makers
Yeah.
all over the country are like, wow.
Must have.
This
Yeah.
could be one of those years. This year, I believe it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
biennial year.
Been a
and
lot of
there's
rain
been a
in the
lot
upper
of rain.
Midwest. So
So
yeah.
who knows?
I think I asked
Yeah.
Tom. I usually ask him once a year. I always ask him like on the
So
same.
Tom, do you have any of that there, honey?
Yeah, I think I always ask him. So how is the year for yellow sweet clover? And then he gives me like the weather update on how things are.
Yeah, you get 14 paragraphs on the weather. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I love Tom just to pieces. We're talking about going out there to visit. He's been after me to
Oh my
come out for
God,
a visit.
I'd love to go out there some summer. I'd
Yeah.
probably take my kid with me and we'll do like South Dakota
Oh
and
yeah.
hit the Mount Rushmore and
Mount
see
Rushmore and the Black
the
Hills and
Black
yeah.
Hills and
And there's there's a couple of other things that are out that way, but there's like a huge Native American presence out that way and everything. So Custer's Last Stand and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I want to go out there. Plus, he's got a meadery partnership with a brewery out there.
Yep,
So
and
he
now
puts
that's the
his
only
stuff
place
on
you can get his
there.
meads. Yeah, I want to try his meads. The commercial ones. I've had his regular
Mhm.
ones, but
So yeah, definitely wanna visit him at some point. But yeah, I mean, I would say my travels and getting to travel is and judging and then being able to like try all these different meaderies and the different honeys and different beers.
yeah,
It definitely opened my mind up of what what is possible. And that's why, like, if you're really into mead and you really want to make good mead, like searching these places out and getting your hands on some of these bottles, like
yeah,
if your state, like Michigan here, we have a hard time shipping things here. If
yeah.
you have
You
a
don't ship
friend
them
that,
to
if you
Michigan
have a
unless
friend
you
in another
do it.
state and you can ship
Yeah,
there, then please do it. Like get your hands on some of the stuff and try it because it will help you set your expectations as to if you're a competitive mead maker as to what you should be aiming for with your meads because
yeah,
this does do a
absolutely.
really good job with their meads.
Yeah,
There's a reason why when they entered their stuff at Mazer Cup,
they walk away with
they
10
walk
medals.
away with all those medals because their stuff is fantastic.
I still have some bottles of Andre's stuff from Intermeal in Canada.
Hmm.
And I've got a bottle of his rose mead, his Rotomel, and I've got some of the stuff that he puts into the stone bottles. I mean, everything Andre makes is like over the top, so good.
Is he the guy? I can't remember the guy. There was a guy at Mazer Cup last year that was doing like dry meads,
That's
and his
probably
stuff.
Andre. His stuff tends to
Yeah,
be on the medium
he
sweet.
yeah, his stuff was really good. I mean, because I like
Interesting.
dry meat.
Yeah, it's hard to find good dry meads is the problem.
Hmm.
It's commercially,
Because
we had what's their names up in Royal Oak. Oh shoot, they went out of
went out of business.
yeah, they went out of business.
No,
Unset.
I mean we have Bloom in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, and I'm going to be speaking at the Michigan Beekeepers Conference. They called me up and they're like, "We want you to speak." I'm like, "I'm a new beekeeper." Yeah, we want you to come and tell us how to make mead. Oh, I can do that. so I'm going to do that, but they're having a little reception thing at Blom. So
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet, so I'm looking forward to it. In fact, I just signed up for it and to make sure that I get to go. But they were one of the meaderies I have not visited. Sellerman's was the one that I was
Oh
thinking of.
yeah.
Yeah, they had all they did was dry stuff, and until I visited them, I had not had a really good dry. Well, I take that back. There were one or two, but they were the older mead makers out west that had been, in the business for a long time. But these guys did just amazing. Sellerman's had just unbelievably incredible meads. They were so good.
Yeah, a good dry mead is still it's dry, but it still has some sweetness that
Yeah,
like and I find that like it's almost like a really nice dry white wine. Where there's just this nice balance of everything between whatever residual sweetness is there and then and if you do oaking or tannins, and then the acidity, like it's just bright and refreshing, and not a lot of people know how to make them. I think that guy in Canada, his family was actually a winery, and he decided to do mead stuff, and his meads were like, they were really good. Like he did a great job. I was really impressed with him.
Nice.
So I hopefully he comes back. I was really I really like talking to him, and he sounded like he was just getting into meads, like, and he was just starting to make them, and his stuff was really good. So I hope he comes back this year and hangs out with
Yeah.
us, and we can talk more dry meads with him.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'd like that.
That's why, like I said, sometimes I'll enter these competitions, and like they, not a lot of people enter dry meads, and it's
hard to do. There's no place to hide.
There's
I mean, that's the thing. You can't cover it up with fruit or sweetness or anything. You gotta get it right.
Yeah, you gotta dial it in. It basically, I think that, like, in regards to making meads, a good dry mead is probably the hardest thing in the world to make.
Yeah, I would think so.
You guys still there?
Yep, we're
still
here.
there.
Sorry, I went really quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that rarely happens, but it does happen.
Well,
we're coming up on 2 hours.
Yeah,
you have to get to work tomorrow.
Oh, I work from home.
Oh, well, that's even better.
That's handy.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I checked out there for a second. I don't know what's happening, but when I moved my mouse for whatever reason, the screen went blank. It was like, oh no! It's still going on out in the cloud. It's still live, thank God. But I dumped myself basically.
Well, at least you got back. It's fine.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's an issue. But yeah, I'm dry meads are something that I'd like to try, but I don't feel like I'm ready for it yet. You know, I'm my own worst critic. So yeah,
they're rare though. I do believe they're rare.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I haven't seen in 30 years of tasting meads all over the world. I have not seen all that many dry meads that I would go back to. You know, that I would continue, go back and get more of. So, I know what a good one tastes like. I'm just not 100%. I'm not sure that I could do it. So yeah, it's like, I'm happy to let other people do that. I know what I'm good at, and that's, and I'll stick with that.
Yeah, I wish more people made them.
I do too. More commercial meaderies, but they sell what sells, and dry meads don't sell that well.
Yeah.
Generally.
Well, this is why it's called the sugar belt, because people like their sweets.
And that's true. It's not just the Midwest that's the sugar belt. It's like that everywhere.
It's just in general.
It is. I've entered stuff down in Georgia, and it comes back. Needs more honey, needs more sweetness. It's like, what?
It's in the dry category. What do you want about?
Yeah. No. They were in the, semi-sweet category, but it's just people have specific expectations, and it's hard to get away from that.
Yeah, I think certain parts of the country definitely have different expectations in regards to what's considered a sweet mead. Some things are too cloyingly sweet, and some people are like, "Oh, that's just the way I like it." And then there's certain parts of the country that, like, it's too dry, and
Well, I've noticed that there's a fair amount of people that don't know the difference between dry and sweet. I mean, they think they do.
Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks a dry mead has to be bone dry, and it doesn't have to be bone dry.
No, it doesn't have to be. You don't want. I don't think you want it to be bone dry.
Like,
you want to be able to get that honey character.
Yeah, and if you just, you go to 0.998 and you go super dry, and then you taste it, it's literally like watery alcohol with a hint of like some kind of pollen-y note or something. It does not taste good. And you have to like stabilize, and you have to add a little bit of honey back. and then find that little sweet spot where the honey's still there, but it's still dry. And then it comes down to just at that point getting enough little acid and tannins there to kind of balance it all out. But I will say the one thing that people forget when they're making dry meads is they try to make sack dry meads.
Yeah.
Oh
Not
yes.
a good thing. You need to
No, you
No.
need to
be on,
dial back on the alcohol a little bit.
yeah, it needs to be
Yeah.
below 10. So you're talking like
I've made that
9,
mistake
7,
myself.
7, 8, 9. You should be starting at like at the most 1060.
Mm-hmm.
Below that, I usually aim for like 1040, 1050, 1060, somewhere in there.
Right.
And if I'm doing standard level, if I'm doing hydromel, 1030, 1020. But like the more alcohol there, just adding a little bit of honey is not going to balance it out. It's
No.
it's still going to taste like alcohol. It's going to
Yeah.
be out
Yeah.
of balance.
hmm
And so
Yeah,
if you're going to
exactly.
try to make a dry mead, you definitely have to make a low ABV dry mead.
So I had a
Yeah.
couple of commercial dry meads over the last 2 months that were in the 15% range. And these were almost bone dry. And
Really?
I mean, you can't have, I mean, in my opinion at least, 15%, no thanks. You know, it's harsh.
It's harsh. It's like
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be though. The ones that the full ABV ones that I got at Sellerman's, they were fine. They were great. It wasn't
And bone
harsh at all.
dry.
No, I don't know about bone dry, but pretty close.
Yeah.
But were they like 14? Like were they sack level?
No,
I don't
no,
think.
Oh,
they
that's
were
what I'm
more.
talking about though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they were more 12 to 14. So
I'm just
you
saying,
know,
like, if you're a mead maker and you're gonna enter a mead into a competition and you're gonna do a dry mead, I just don't think trying to do a sack mead dry is gonna be where you want to go. You want to start at least at like hydromel standard,
Mm.
and then make your mead and then stabilize it and then add a touch of honey back, and then that way you don't have the alcohol harshness and you can balance with just a little bit of honey and everything falls in a line. But there's always people, I've had a few examples of that where they tried to do a dry mead and they had it 12-14%, and it was still too harsh. It
Mhm.
there's not anything you can do. You gotta then start adding honey to it, and then it becomes less dry and more semi-sweet. And once you're at that point, you've kind of killed the point of it being a dry mead. So I definitely say for the guys out there that are gonna do a dry mead, try to keep your ABV low and start from there, and then make your dry mead, and that whole thing there is tweaking processes, because now since you're not starting so high, your yeast may chew through the honey or the sugar so quick. So then you gotta look at how you're gonna handle your nutrient additions. Are you gonna hit them all up front?
mhm.
Or are you gonna try to pace them out still? So just those type of things you got to keep in mind.
Yeah. One last Nathan question, which this kind of leads into: what do you look for in a quote unquote perfect mead?
I would say for me, like what I find a perfect mead on the trad side is it doesn't have to be like a fruity honey. It just needs to be a complex honey. Like there needs to be, when you taste it, there needs to be like layers to it. Maybe there's a fruitiness, but maybe there's some like green tea, and then there's maybe something else going on. Like complexity, layers of complexity make things like really good. So if it's one dimensional, like I've had some stuff. Um, I had a red currant mead at Michigan Beer Cup this year. It was really good, but it was just like it was kind of one dimensional. It tasted more like a red currant wine, and it
Mm.
just didn't have like any kind of layering to it. So adding things like wood to get like a vanilla note and tannins, wood tannins, just adding little things and getting things complex. Those are the meads that when I have it, I go, wow. Like fruit and spice mead, sometimes it's not so much about it being spicy, it's about the spice playing well with the fruit or what you're putting in there, and it layers together to make a really interesting complexity. And those are the meads that I find that blow me away. That's why, like I was saying earlier, Billy's Wolf mead, it's got
Mm-hmm.
like peppercorns, it's got like tea, it's got like fruit, and all those things combined, you get this really magical, like expressive mead that like just kind of go wow when you have it. And so to me, that's what I find um, are my favorite meads. Are the ones that someone took the time to build all these different layers of flavor there for you. That's why the Polish meads I think do so well, is
Mhm.
because adding some sherry and oxidation just adds another layer of complexity to the honeys that are presented to you, you know. So I definitely think like if you're making a mead and you taste it and it's good, but it's just that. If you're at the level like at Mazer or wherever where you're like getting a high score, the reason why you didn't get the cup is good chance that someone had something on the table that was just a little more complex and had different layers to it that like
Mm-hmm.
made theirs stand out over yours. Even though they both had really high scores, this one just had that little extra to it that makes you go, wow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that raises a little bit of a competition question, and
Mm-hmm.
then we'll wind you up and let you
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
But let's just touch for a minute on when you're entering a meet in a competition. How do you do your descriptions? This has been a big bone of contention for a lot of people. Because if you mention all the things that go into it, like a multi-layered mead from Lost Cause, then you get a lot of judges that are going, well, I don't taste the cinnamon, or whatever, and that happens. So what do you do?
My rule of thumb is taste it and then close your eyes and write down what you're tasting,
Okay.
right? So pretend you're judging your mead yourself
Mm-hmm.
and and you want to describe the mead that you're judging or you want to describe it to someone without telling them what's in it. So just taste it and then write down what you're tasting. I get tropical fruit notes. I get pineapple. I get mango. I get cinnamon. I get nutmeg. I get, write down what your brain is picking up flavor wise. And if you can write down like all these different descriptors, then put those descriptors if you want into your description of your mead. But don't, if you say it's got raspberry, blueberry, blackberry, and you're tasting it and you're like, man, I'm not really picking up the blueberry or I'm not really picking up the blackberry, then don't put those in there. Just tell them it's a raspberry mead. And then when they taste it, they'll be like, wow, this is raspberry mead, but it's got this other thing going on with it. It's really complex. And, they're not trying to find fruits that aren't really showing up there. So for me, it's always put down what you taste, your descriptors, but don't put things down that don't put it in there if it's not in there, like you're not picking it up. Because as a meat judge, if you tell me it has all these things, I'm going to try to find them. And I know they're not always going to be there, but I mean, you declared them, so I'm going to try to see if I can find them. So I just say, don't declare it if they're not really standing out to you.
Okay. That's good because a lot of people are just, it's
Listing every single ingredient they put in.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's like you get to it. I love the ones that come up and go, well, and I picked the fruit on the night of the dark moon on the south side of the
Yeah.
hill. And it's like, oh, come on.
I
Don't do
would
that.
say
Please don't do that.
Yeah,
save your
backyard raspberries from
yeah.
1501 Oasis Street, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Right. It's like, so we didn't know who it was, but now we do.
I would say don't give things like don't say your state, don't say the area it comes from. You don't need to tell people a story about where the fruit came from. Just, if you want to say it's um I picked it myself. It's not frozen fruit or whatever. That's fine. But just
Mhm.
you don't need to go into a big story. Um, you know, Rob makes a good point. So he's talking about a strawberry apple mead, and I'm not gonna lie. Like judges perceive things. Everybody perceives things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So someone says they can taste the apple, and someone's gonna say they can't taste the apple. That's their brain tasting what they're tasting and processing it, and they're putting down on paper what they're tasting. It could be that, sometimes you just can't find that sweet spot that both judges are going to agree upon. I've had that before where someone says, I taste oxidation, and I taste it. I'm like, I don't know where you're getting oxidation from, man, because I've tasted oxidation and I'm not getting it here. Then you just go, what you have to write on paper what you were tasting, and I have to write on paper what I am tasting, and then we got to kind
Yeah.
of come to a consensus. So if you're getting that kind of feedback from your judges, don't take it too harshly. Don't get mad about it. Just understand that judges perceive things differently,
Well, we
and
all have our
we
taste
all
buds
do.
are very individual, and especially, I mean, your normal person doesn't pick up a lot of things. They just can't. They can't. Then you get somebody like Pete, for instance. He's a super taster. He picks up shit nobody can pick up except him.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
you know,
um, I would say I will say that John Allison's really good at descriptors, and he always tells me to use my word vocabulary, my thesaurus, to
uh-huh.
open it up and try to like describe all the different things, because it's not always just fruit punch. It's this fruit and this fruit and this fruit, and so it's hard sometimes to put that down on paper. And some judges are really good at it, and some of them aren't really good at it, and it just takes time and experience.
Yeah,
Um, but
Also,
it
I
really
think some
does.
people might have blank spots in their ability to taste. Like, I could not tell you what a raw blackberry tastes like, or a dragon fruit, or
yeah, it's
what's
hard
the
to
other one? A
describe
cactus fruit.
sometimes.
They don't taste like anything to me.
Yeah, like dragon
Yeah,
fruit is really difficult to describe because it's a
it
very
is. Yeah.
light fruit. I'll say, I'll
But like
say the
people love
lost.
blackberries, but I don't taste anything in them until they've been
Yeah,
fermented.
like blackberries
Nothing.
to me, when I've tasted them, taste more like grapey in
Hmm.
the end when they're fermented than they taste like when they're blackberries. Like when you taste them up front, they taste totally different than what they finish. Like watermelon's the same way. Like I have never had a really good fermented
I
watermelon
mean, to say
because
Rob's got his.
Neither. I'm
it
Rob's
still
got
tastes like
his
waiting.
in the freezer,
it
and he's
tastes like
doing a
this
freeze
weird
distillation.
cucumbery thing. It just
Yeah, it's got a
And
weird
if it's
top
more
note
than a
that
month
you can't put
old,
your
it tastes
finger on.
rancid.
Yeah,
oh
Mm.
man,
yeah,
it's but there's certain fruits that are like that. Like they change during fermentation.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
What you
I
get
can't
flavor
remember.
wise is different in the end, and everybody
Yeah,
tasting's different. I will also say, and this is a pet peeve of mine and for judges, is when you come in the judging, if I see you drinking coffee or eating a donut or whatever
Or
in my
smoking.
mornings, I know you need something to eat before you judge, but get
yeah,
something else. Don't drink the coffee that morning. Don't eat the donut, because all that does is coat your tongue, and the
yep,
coffee, like,
Mm.
it ruins your taste buds. It's like, I know you need caffeine, but find some other way to get it. Go chug a Mountain Dew if you need caffeine. I don't know. Just do not do these things as smokers and judging. It's just, ugh. If you
yeah.
can't for
Well,
one
if
day
you're
not
sitting
have the cup of
at a table with a
coffee,
smoker,
then please
if
don't
you're sitting at a
judge.
table with, yeah, if you're sitting at a table with a judge who's a smoker, and I'll be the last one to give people crap about being smokers because I was one for a long time, but and I quit. But it's like people who don't smoke can smell that, so you're
Mm-hmm.
impacting the smellability of the mead for everybody at the table,
Well,
you know, and
people are paying all this money for they ship you this stuff and they want good feedback. Then you can take 1 or 2 days of the judging to just not do those things. There are other things you can do. Just don't do them on that day. Even if the people at the judging center are being nice and giving this in the morning, mentally, just don't do it. You can survive. I know it's a drug, but you can step around it for just the one day. It's just,
Have tea
I
for
don't
a
know. It
change.
messes with your tongue. It messes with your
yeah,
taste
I
buds.
know. I
and then
know,
people
but it's
go,
like,
well,
no,
why
you're
does
trying
this
to fry
person
the
taste?
coffee out of their cold dead
It's like
hands.
Rob. It's like, well, why does some person taste apple and one person doesn't? I don't know, because maybe the guy drank a hot coffee and now his tongue is toast for the next
Yeah.
couple
Or maybe he
days.
just doesn't have the capability, like
Yeah.
AJ was saying, blackberries don't taste anything like anything
Yeah.
for her.
But some of that
So
too is
yeah.
is if you judge enough, you start to learn flavor profiles of fermented things, and you start picking those things up. It's like I had a trad this weekend. Sorry, not to get in the weeds, but I had a trad this weekend, and the type of honey that I was picking up was like the late season goldenrod type honey, because I've had it enough times now where
Mhm.
if someone says it's wildflower honey, I know what that tastes like in my brain, so I can describe it as it tastes like this.
Yeah.
It's same with
You can
like
pick out
around
the
here.
goldenrod going on because
Yeah,
that's
Mhm.
and
like what's
it's the
cooking right
same for
now.
like
Yeah.
spring honey and like what's the white tree? The
Linden,
linden.
Oh, the
Like
yeah,
it's
Linden or
got
Basswood.
like a
Basswood.
slight menthol, slight
Bradford
vanilla,
pear.
Basswood.
slight menthol.
Yeah,
Like
it's
like
basswood.
you yeah,
Oh,
basswood.
basswood. Yeah,
Yeah.
Basswood.
that's
So
got
like
like a minty thing going on with it. It's got
but
a very
and
sharp edge
same with
to it.
star thistle with like the little bit of ants you get
Mm-hmm.
from it.
Star
Like
anise, yeah.
yeah, so if you build that profile in your brain by tasting these honeys and then you judge enough, you start to see these things, and then that becomes part of your vocabulary on your score sheets. And I think that makes you a better judge. So that's just my 2 cents on it. And I just go back to saying everything to tastings different, and don't
Yep.
take it personal if one person says
Right.
it has enough apple and one says it doesn't have enough apple.
So I want to go back to something you kind of touched on briefly, and that is that fermented fruits don't necessarily taste like the original fruit when it's just fresh juice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And
absolutely.
the very best example of that is red wine. They don't taste
Mm.
like grapes when
Yeah.
they're done.
Yeah.
Period. They
No.
Yeah.
don't.
You get
They
things
taste like
like
other stuff,
yeah, they
and
taste like raspberries or
or
cherries
cassets
Well, and
or
you see the
yeah, or black
blackberries
descriptors, and
currants, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
they're
right,
descriptors, and they're going black currants and dark chocolate and smoke. You know,
right.
Exactly.
it's like,
They don't
yeah,
they
Exactly.
don't taste like the original grape, and
yeah,
Yeah.
so that is one of the things that judges really need to be aware of when somebody says that
Exactly. Just because someone says it
they
has that in it doesn't mean that you need to know what when they say that's in it. You need to know that is it did is it fermented or not fermented, and what are you
and you
tasting? Is
don't
it
know
yeah,
yeah,
necessarily unless they
yeah,
tell you specifically, which they're not
right.
likely to
Which
do.
yeah.
they're not likely to tell you. I put this in after the ferment and
So
added
some
strawberries.
latitude is
Yeah,
important.
yeah,
Correct. But that also gives you layering. Like if you
Absolutely.
know that a fermented product tastes like X, but then you stabilize it and then you add some more on top of that. Now you got the original flavoring plus this new flavoring. So
Mhm.
now you've created a layer, complexity. And I
yeah,
think some people don't do that. And so there's definitely room for like learning those things and trying to like impart different things in the process of doing that.
yeah,
So yeah,
definitely.
listing ingredients helps. Definitely listing out what people are tasting, like what you should be expecting out of it helps. Um, you know, that all that helps. But yeah,
But as you pointed out, though, taste your own mead and do it
taste
like you're
your own meat.
judging it. Because if you put cinnamon in there and you're not getting any of the cinnamon, don't list that because you'll get called out for it.
Exactly.
For sure. Another thing for people when you're judging your own meat or tasting it or judging in a competition, grab a flavor and aroma wheel.
Yep.
Just the reminders alone are
Yeah.
sufficient to
Oh,
help you articulate what you are experiencing.
that's the hardest part is coming up with the descriptors.
Right.
And
And
that's, a lot of people just they aren't used to that. So you go, like you say, the flavor, the wheel is the best. Oh God, I love that thing.
how
Yeah.
often when you're sitting there with another judge or a friend or whatever, and they say, well, what do you think? And you start describing what it is that you taste or smell, and they all go, oh yeah, that's it. That's exactly right.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
so many
I
times.
was
Yeah.
trying
So
to
you'll
get
be
to.
you'll be like you'll be done judging. You'll have your score, and you'll be discussing your scores,
Yeah.
and then you'll start talking about. So you kept quiet because you don't want to accidentally push something onto the other
Well,
judges.
not
or
while
whatever,
they're
right?
right.
Not while
Not
they're
while they're
judging.
writing,
No, it's
right?
not until the
So
discussion
you
after.
do your
Yeah.
best. Like if you smell oxidation, you try not to make a big deal of it. You just write it down on paper. But then when you get done, when you start discussing things, you start discussing what you perceived,
Yeah.
and then the other person discusses what they perceived, and maybe they'll go, "Yeah, I got this really weird," and they'll say some kind of flavor, or they'll try to describe it, and then you go, "Well, was it this flavor?" And then it's like, "Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is," you
Mhm.
know. And sometimes it's just getting a reminder, right? Your brain perceived it, but you just couldn't like put one and one together. You just was like, I can't give the right word to describe what I'm being presented with.
Mm-hmm.
The
vocabulary is difficult.
It is.
It is.
And having a flavor wheel, or even at the end talking with your partner to go over what you just judged, like you can bounce things off each other, and then you go, that's what, and then you can edit your score sheet and write in those little things, right?
Yep.
Or you can erase something and put in, here's what I actually wanted to write down, right?
Yeah. I've done that lots of times.
Yeah.
Where it's like something I couldn't articulate, but I knew it was there. I tasted
Exactly.
it, but it was like it's and I couldn't put my finger on it. And
Why don't I have the words?
yeah, some of that is just I keep losing words. And some
But
of it is things sometimes I'm just not familiar enough with to be able to put a name to it.
Yeah, I would say if you want to make, I mean, as you're tasting other people's meads when you're judging, or when you're going out to go to one of these meaderies, or you get a hold of a bottle from someplace, if you can look at it as if you're judging it and go through aromatics. What are you picking up on your nose?
Mm-hmm.
What's the appearance like? What is the flavors you're picking up? Is it's the Holy Trinity: sugar, acidity, tannins. Like, how is it playing within that space? Like, to me, if you in your brain can process that on what you're tasting, even on just your everyday drinking, then that just makes you it makes you have a better idea of what a really good, especially for some of these meads, like I said, these ones that win awards, if you taste them, and then you can articulate that, then you'll lock it into your brain, and then you can then know that when you make your own mead, you're getting up to those standards, you're hitting that level. And if you're not, then you can also talk to people like, I'm missing this, I can't get this. And then people, well, here's my process on how to do this. And then they'll tell you. And then you're like, oh, I didn't even think about doing that. So
Yeah.
it's definitely helpful to like look at things from a judging perspective, even when you're dealing with your own stuff or other people's stuff. You just learn. It's part of the process of learning.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll smell things and it smells very floral, and you're like, okay, well, what's floral? It's very bright, and maybe it smells like flowers. Okay, well, what type of flowers are you smelling? Are you smelling roses, dandelions, hibiscus, geranium? I mean, that's an off flavor. You
Yeah.
got to be able to like smell.
Unless it's a geranium mead, which I've never had. So
Pretty rare to get geranium in a mead, though.
Oh,
yeah,
I've done it.
yeah.
It does happen. I've only done it twice, but it does happen. That's a process issue. That's
So do you have a malolactic fermentation going on when you stabilized?
or you stabilize backwards. You didn't sulfite before you sorbated. So you sorbate and then you sulfite.
Sure.
Well, because the
But you had
sorbate
to have
was there.
lactic bacteria
Lactic
in there in
bacteria
order
was
for
in
that to
there.
happen.
Yep. And
Yeah.
so then the lactic bacteria started eating the sorbate, and next thing you know, you got geranium taint.
Mhm.
I know what the smell is because it happens in my face cloths in my house. So I know I've got that bacteria in the house, but I've never managed to get it into my mead despite my terrible practices. So
Yeah.
AJ's our resident bad example.
I'm a bad example.
Well, I mean, I think the first time I had it was a plum mead. The first time I did a plum mead, and I didn't wash the plums. I didn't like run them. My process now with my fruit is I use a citric acid bath, and I wash all the
Mm,
fruit in that to get all the stuff off it, and hopefully it helps kill those bacteria for the most part. And then that way, then I dry it off, and then I, cut it up and ferment it. And at the first, if you're dealing with fruit and you don't do any cleaning, then the lactic acid or the lactic bacteria and
mhm,
all the other yeast and bacteria still on the fruit. And when you pitch it, it's in there. And unless you sulfite it, it's it's gonna do its thing. So
Mhm.
it may be in the background and it may take some time for you to like start noticing it.
mhm.
But it's there, and until you sulfite it and kill it,
Yeah.
um, and then if you accidentally sorbate before doing all that, then the lactic stuff will start eating on that, and you'll get the geranium taint. And again, it has happened to me, and I've talked to John. Um, he's had it happen to him, I think, on a cherry mead. Um, it does happen. It's just, but you got to be
Yeah.
very. It's a process. It's just a
In
process.
my early and stupid days, I did try sorbating without sulfite because I had some friends who were sensitive to sulfites, but I was lucky enough to not have it happen then. And yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's all it is luck. It's definitely not skill.
Yeah, I had it happen on I got a bunch of cheap free cherries from an orchard one time, and I made cherry wine with it, and lo and behold, I was in a hurry and I didn't sulfite, and I sorbated to stabilize, and then of course next thing you know,
Ugh.
geranium taint, and I'm like, well, all this is getting dumped.
Yeah.
This is not savable. You
No,
can't blend that out.
the worst I've had so far is a diesel odor, but it's not. It's just an odor. So if I pour out a glass and shake the bottle up and use a wine vacuum a couple of times, I can pull most of it out. Or if you just pour
Yeah,
a cup and let it air for a while, it goes away. But it's very definitely diesel. And I had it happen with two different batches that I started on the same day, but I use different yeasts and I don't cross contaminate. So I don't know what it was, but apparently that day was diesel day.
yeah, I've had a few go sulfury on me, and I don't think it's nutrients. It was just some of the fruit
Yeah,
I've used has sulfur as sulfites on it as a
yeah. One was a lime
they
and the
just
other
don't
was a
tell
red
you,
currant.
like it's and then you
Hmm.
ferment it, and then it adds sulfur to your mead. And I have a uh I have a apricot mead right now that I'm just gonna have to splash
Hmm.
and use some copper on it to like get it to go away.
Yeah, I've had that happen a couple of times too, and usually
Or Regulus.
it was often for me because uh, which one is it? RC212.
Hmm.
It goes like rancid rhino fart on me sometimes if I let it get away. It's worth it, but you really have to baby it. It makes really good meads, but
Oh
oh
yeah.
my goodness, is it ever needy?
Yeah, some of them are really needy in regards to nutrients. And if you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
not on top of your nutrients, you'll get that. But the nice thing, if you catch it right away, like if
Hmm.
you smell it, and it's still fermenting, as soon as you add nutrients,
Yeah, it
like
writes
within a
itself.
day, it goes away.
Yeah,
It's
the
if
other
you
one I've
just
had is
ignore it the entire time and then it
yeah.
gets done fermenting, then it's a matter of how do I flush this out?
Yeah.
Yep. The other one I've had that was weird was I had some that went rubber stopper, and I'm not quite sure whether it was actually the rubber stopper because I had some very strongly rubber smelling stoppers for my carboys. And what was the other one? I'm drawing a blank. I'm sure I'll remember it 5 minutes after it's no longer relevant.
I mean, I only time I ever get like rubbery notes, it's because of chlorides, like chloride water. Like I don't know if you just like the chlorine in water like can get into your stuff. Like if you're cleaning and it's still wet and then like there's enough water left behind, or if you're making like star sand, but you're not doing it with like distilled water,
Mm.
you're using tap water, but tap water has like chloride in it. Like I've seen that kind of gives you.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
John
that's
also gives another point too. Autolys. So when like
mm,
yeast breaks down,
yeah.
you
Oh,
don't.
autolysis,
That
yeah.
it can also cause it. Yeah,
I
but
remembered
I
what it was. I have a couple times where I've had it go through a vomit phase, and it was in the middle of fermentation, and it was gross, but it worked out.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had it happen with an apple and a red currant, and I think it might have been an acidity thing.
Well, I've had
But
meads like stop fermenting because of acidity.
yeah, red
And which
currant is the one that I always adjust the pH for because it's the most acidic thing that I tend to make. Most of the rest of them are fine, but I've had a crabapple one that I guess was extra tart, and it went through a barf phase too. But that one I find once it's done fermenting, it works itself out. But yeah,
yeah,
I've had a couple where it's what is it? There's one where it's the sulfur is the precursor to the mercaptans, and if you get the mercaptans, you're stuck with them. But if you can get it while it's still sulfur, you're fine. It's like the
interesting.
rotten eggs versus rubber stopper, I think. I've had some discussions with people over some of these just because I've had such weird things happen sometimes.
Well, part of being a good mead maker is identifying that stuff
Hmm.
and understanding how it happens and how to adjust. If there's things you can do post ferment or during ferment to fix it,
Hmm.
or if it's something that you can't fix. Because if you send it to me competition, like you didn't taste it, like I said to do, if you didn't taste it before you sent it, and then it gets to a judge, the judge is going to pick up on it and they're going to talk to you about it in
Yep.
their notes, and um and then it's a
I
matter
cannot
of, well,
imagine sending something out that I haven't tasted.
it happens. It
Mhm,
happens
I
a
believe
lot.
it.
Even on the pro side, I had a few pro entries at the state fair in Indiana that were like, wow, you
Ooh.
guys sent this. This is it's got vinegarness to it.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah. I've had stuff on the pro side where it's like you put this in bottles. It's like,
it
what were
happens.
you thinking?
It happens because
Yeah.
I mean they got to make money and they gotta sell what they made. So
Yeah.
it does happen, but also some of it happens because they don't know any better. They taste it and they think it's good. And
Well, yeah. Those are the ones that their friends told them was amazing.
yeah, I've had ones that were over oaked. They had it in a barrel and it was way over oaked.
Hmm. At least
Yeah,
time takes care of that one eventually.
Yeah.
yeah. I
Chateau
mean,
Maybe.
plywood.
yeah, a lot of tannins. Though that speaking of something Tom taught me, if you add gelatin to something that's overly tannic, it can knock
Mm-hmm.
some of the tannins out of suspension,
Hmm.
Yep, it will work.
Yeah. If you get something that's that
and it does
has,
work.
yeah, one of the things that I found, and I'm actually going to be trying this on a sizer. If you get something that has oxidized too much, you can use powdered milk. And this was
Oh,
something that
I've heard of that.
Jack, oh shoot, the wine guy.
No, I
And
think I've heard of this.
yeah, he
I don't
passed
know if it
away a
was
few years
powder
ago,
milk,
but
but
yeah,
I've heard of using like egg yolk or egg,
yeah,
like,
yeah, because
or
it basically
like a
like spikes.
protein, like will grab
Yeah,
that stuff,
it will
and it
grab
will
it. Yeah, and I
and it
thought that was really interesting. I'm going to give it a try. I bought some powdered milk just for that reason.
yeah. I don't think I've ever done it for oxidized stuff, but I think there's a few tricks on the
Jack
winemaker
Keller.
side
Yeah, Jack
that
Keller has a thing on
yeah.
dealing with oxidation with milk.
Well, even with oxidation, if it's like minor oxidation, sometimes you can knock it back by adding sulfites.
Okay.
Um, but it's like minor oxidation. If it's gone way down the path,
Hmm.
I
Then
mean,
you got to
try
trust
the
it.
milk.
Yeah.
Try
You
the
know
milk
what the
before
hell?
you
You got
toss it
nothing to
out.
lose.
There's
Where
nothing
you're throwing
else
down
to
the drain.
lose.
That's what I figured. It's like, wow, I'll just throw. I'll just do this,
Yeah.
and we'll see what happens. But
No.
yeah, But
Yeah.
we should probably let you get going. I will
Yeah,
let
we
you
can-
know. I'm going to be down in Southeast Michigan first 2 weekends in October because I'm speaking at the Beekeeper Conference, and then I'm going to
Oh,
be
nice.
going to MMC. So you're going to be at MMC, so I guess I'll see you there. But I will let you know when I'm coming down to GR, and we'll get together.
Okay. Well, let me know, and
Yeah.
we'll definitely get together. Yeah, the 27th, I think. When's Michigan Mead Cup?
It's the second weekend in October. Hang on a second. I was literally just looking at.
No, they moved it into October.
Yeah, it's October 11th.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm coming down on Friday, figuring I'm leaving Sunday, and I've got flex time around there because it's only like a 3-hour drive. So,
Nice.
yeah, but so I figure, and I'm going to hit Blom I'll hit Blom the following weekend because that'll be the thing they're doing at the Beekeepers Conference. But I'm planning on definitely going to visit Brad at Bee Nectar, and I'll go over to Shram's and just hit some of the meaderies around the area. And there's 2 or 3 new ones there, new to me, that I haven't hit yet. So,
I guess one quick question. Have you heard anything about Valhalla? The Pennsylvania one? Are they still doing it this year?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Evening with
Are they?
Wolf?
Okay.
I didn't
Yes,
know if
they
it's
are.
still if it's on the
It's
circuit
not
or
going
not.
to be. It's not going to be Willie Reed.
Okay.
It's being taken over by a woman and her fiance.
Okay.
So they will be hosting it. I don't know the timing or anything like that.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, so you haven't missed anything yet.
No, I just was wondering if it was going to happen this year. I know, like, everything else seems to have been, falling into place in regards to all the other comps. That was just the only one, like, I knew last year was for Willie, was kind of a struggle. And so
Yeah, I remember him saying stuff about that.
So I didn't
Yeah,
know. I hadn't heard any
they
news
are,
if it was going to happen this year or not.
Right. They are not going to be on the AMA Meadmaker of the Year circuit.
Okay. Is
Not
Mead
for
Bee
a
in
year
St.
or
Louis?
two. The St. Louis one is happening. It's not
Okay.
on the circuit.
Okay.
It's one they have asked, and it's still very small, which I don't know. We'll have to see. It is one that's being considered. I just don't know how it's going to turn out.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I figured to ask while you guys were here.
Yeah, you got Kevin. He's got inside info on that stuff. So
yeah,
Cool.
the St. Louis one right now, I want to say it's like 75 entries, and they've had it open for a while.
Yeah, like I was saying, I think I missed the window, but I might reach out to
No,
them and
it's
see if
still
I can send
open.
them something.
There's still slots, and it's not closed.
Okay.
But why don't we let you go? I'll
Okay.
update you on when I'm going to be down in that general direction, and yeah,
Cool.
go from there.
Yeah, and anybody out there that has questions even after this episode, feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to talk mead and share information.
Yeah.
That's how I learned. I asked people. I'm still learning. I don't know all
Oh
the
God,
answers.
I'll never
Yeah.
stop learning this stuff. I've been
Yeah,
learning this for
that's
30
for
years.
sure.
I'm still learning
It's
things.
fun. The nice thing about reaching out to people and picking their minds is you become friends with them. And
Yeah.
and so
I've made so many
definitely
amazing friends that way. I tell
Yeah.
you, it's great.
definitely helps build community. So feel free to reach
Matt,
out.
just for your information,
Mhm.
that Mead Me in St. Louis one is 55 entries paid at this moment, and entries are open until let's see here.
Looks like till the end of the month.
End of the month. Well, like 9/5, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, that's judging. I think account registration.
Until 8/29 they're open.
Yeah.
So you got almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I can go dig through my stuff and see if I can.
What do I have sitting in here?
Go ref another couple of games there, Matt.
I got some inventory I can.
Of course you do.
I still need the bottle stuff for Michigan Mead Cup anyways, so
yeah.
this gives me.
Well, I sent 2 to the Mead Me one. Just sending a couple things. So we'll see.
I'll probably just send the same things I sent to Indiana State Fair because it's pretty much I have some stuff that's just not in a spot where I feel like I want to enter any competitions.
Yeah.
It just needs some age on it, or it needs some tweaking. So, but we'll see. So,
Fair enough.
you know. All right, guys.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
thanks
for
for the
coming in,
invite.
man.
Thanks to talk mead with you guys. It was fun.
Yeah, I'll see you in a couple of months, man.
See ya. Definitely see you at Michigan Mead Cup.
Definitely at MMC and possibly earlier. I'm
Yeah.
getting hit on by this RV dealer in Grand Rapids, so we'll see if he drags us down there.
Nice. All right.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
All right, night.
All right. Bye.
Night.
Okay, upcoming August 26th, we're going to have Brian Green with Center Imports, and he's bringing in Eastern European, British, and other European meads to the U.S., and you can actually buy from them on Vino Shipper. So if you want international meads, that's the place to go. Upcoming events, we've got August 13th, Hidden Hive in Vista, California, has Cheese and Bees, a social cheese and mead event. I just like saying cheese and bees, just saying. August 13th, Barcade in Detroit, Michigan has Medieval Madness costume party. Wear your Ren Fair garb and win a season pass to the Michigan Ren Fair. Mead from Nidhogger Mead. So we had them on a few months ago. They're a British mead company. August 14th, Breeden's Orchard, Mount Juliet, Tennessee, Mead Meditate with Skeptic Meadery Meads. August 16th, Doggone Bees Apiary Meadery in Hanover, PA has a mead making class. August 16th, Ravenwood Meadery in Huntsville, Alabama has a mead experience and tour, and I think they may be the only meadery in Alabama. I'm not sure on that yet. I'm still updating my list. August 16th, Four Brothers Mead, Festus, Missouri, Blight of Many is playing live music. August 16th, Demon Tap in Chicago is got their Mead Fest 2025. Sorry, the chat was doing things and I looked down at it. August 16th, Apis Mead and Winery in Carnegie, Pennsylvania has 732, the Electric Duo live music. August 20th, Kingview Mead in Mount Lebanon, PA has Trivia Night. August 22nd and 23rd, Brewery 33 in Logan, Ohio has their Mead Fest with live music vendors and merch. Plus, sample their maple cinnamon mead and other flavors. August 29th, Wandering Wind Meadery in Charleston, West Virginia has karaoke and mead. August 30th, Moonjoy Meadery in Lenore, North Carolina has mead and mindfulness. September 5th, White Winter Mead, Iron River, Wisconsin has a mead mile race. And like, do a race, drink. That works. September 6th, Grimsby Hollow Meadery in Middleville, Michigan has Me Learn Things, Victorian Potions and Poisons. September 13th, St. Ambrose Cellars in Beulah, Michigan has their Barn Dance 2025. So support your local meadery if you don't have a local meadery, or if you do, you can go to shopmeads.com, and that is Vino Shipper, and they ship meads from all over the country to all over the rest of the country, except for a few places like Michigan, unless they've got special paperwork on it. But it's still pretty good. I think it's 42 states they've got right now. And if you want to get your event on Gotmead Live, let us know. Just email gotmead@gotmead.com. Be happy to put it up for you. In the meantime, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks, and be excellent to one another.
Night, everybody.
Take care.
All right.